2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Perfect. What's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Tonight's show is going to be an interesting one. Title of it is Three Stooges of Grief, Turnovers, Timeouts, and Takeaways. The Carolina Panthers are on a 3-game skid, and we'll be asking a lot of questions about the nature of this team, about if this coaching staff is panicking, if players are starting to get frustrated, if Matt Rhule may be getting a pass, or maybe we're the ones panicking. So there's going to be plenty to talk about in each and every week. I do it with my wheelman, Cody Lastney. What's up,
no
brother?
pun intended, you son of a bitch. What's up, Tony Dunn? Listen, man, you know there's nowhere I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than sitting here chilling with the homeboys, talking about my favorite football team, the Carolina Panthers. Listen, we have a ton to talk about tonight, Tony Dunn. The Panthers are on a real bad losing streak. We kind of think our coaches are panicking. We're going to be asking, are we being too hard on Sam Darnold? We're going to talk about the importance.
Or we get being too easy on him.
Hey, man.
It's the same question from each and every angle. Too hard on the coaching staff. Too easy on them.
What does Stephon Gilmore mean to this team going forward? Tony, you know we have a ton to talk about, but per usual, we're going to do it with the best Panther fans in all of YouTube, Tony Dunn. We're going to do it with Tim Estes, Panthers are Kings, Eternal Rage 21, Drew, my man, AJ Lindsay, Justin, Pipe Slinger, Kevin Boshoven, ATX 19, Jay Prey, Lee Trotter, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Man, we appreciate all y'all's support. You can call into the show at 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. You can find the show on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast later on. Mad growth going on because Panther Nation is circling the wagons right now. And CK, we got to circle the wagons. There's a lot of social media angst. There's a lot of nervousness. I think some of the expectations were enhanced over the first 3 weeks that made these last 3 weeks hurt and sting a little bit more. But we got to keep these guys together. We got to keep us fans together. How bad is it?
I mean,
Oh,
listen,
and welcome to the show.
I'm happy to be here, guys. I appreciate it. The reality is, and this is stuff we're going to talk about throughout tonight's show and moving forward, is when we came into this season, we knew that there was a big chance that this was going to be the reality. The problem is we were hoping that it wasn't going to happen this quickly. We have fallen victim to this pattern far too often, where we start out hot and then we have a big time loss, which you can call that Dallas a one possession game all you want. That was a big time loss. And then we just crumble. And I may have an unpopular opinion about all of this because I know that there is, there is some positives to this defense, but I have to, I watched the second half of that game and I don't care how often the offense was giving the ball back to them. That defense wasn't good. Like for the most part, there were the only reason we were in it wasn't our defense. It was our special teams. And you can call Frankie Louvu our defense, but that was a special teams play. Like that's the only reason we were in this game. And I may be more of a defender of Sam Darnold even after this past game, even after the past few weeks of Sam Darnold, because he did something that we've asked a quarterback to do for the past 2 or 3 seasons that nobody's been able to do. And that is take the ball down the field when it counted, put the ball in the end zone and give your team a chance to win. He got the overtime win. He got the pushed the ball down the field twice. And then one time got the actual touchdown and the 2-point conversion. And we've got to give him credit because he was failed on all accounts by his receivers, by his offensive line, who wasn't as bad today. I mean, on Sunday, I will be the first. I didn't get a chance to watch the post game. I'm sure you guys talked about it. They weren't the worst part. They weren't the biggest reason we lost. I'll put it that way. But I'm going to blame our defense. They've had every game that we've lost, they've had an opportunity to stop them at the end of the game, and they haven't done it. No matter how gassed you are, you still have to play all 60 minutes. And you can blame the offense all you want, but the defense has to take some responsibility as well.
CK coming in strong, firing bullets right away. Greg, the bat daddy, the stat daddy. How you been, my man? Up, you're on mute.
Yeah,
you muted yourself.
Muted myself. Sorry, there were dishes in the background. I'm doing all right, man. After this week, y'all know where I was beforehand. It's still I stand with Sam, but damn.
How you gonna stand with Sam? Man, I like this. Is the most negative guy for the last 4 years on this show.
I'm trying to be positive.
Whatever it is. And now he's standing with Sam. All right. Well, what else we got coming up tonight? Let's outline the show a little bit. Obviously, the fans can be a part of it by calling in at 252-228-5098. They've been helping us out. We've been growing a lot on YouTube. Got a lot of cool content coming out. What else we got? Oh, we got a good guest coming up in a little while. John Farmer, the One Carolina. You can follow him on Twitter at the One Carolina to help us get through the couch session. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is. A little therapy in the beginning. And then we're going to determine if we got to start talking nasty words. I don't know what we're going to do. What else we got?
So, listen, I think
let's go ahead and start.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and start here. I want to start with Matt Rhule because Matt Rhule basically had a very revealing press conference, came out and said that the Carolina Panthers are not a very good passing team and that we intend to run the football a lot more than we have been. And I don't know necessarily what to make of this. I don't know why you would openly signal that, hey, we're going to run the football way more than we have been. I don't necessarily know what that does other than tell your opponents, hey, now we're going back to smash mouth football. We're going to try and run it through the A gaps and B gaps.
But then he also said you can't. We're not a team that can play smash mouth football. So he didn't go back to smash. We can't play it. So he said we need to run the ball. I think this is a sign our coaching staff is panicking, Cody. I think they're panicking. And maybe they're not panicking in their own internal soul, but they are totally not handling the pressers well. Like, I feel it's very reactionary.
Yeah.
It's reactionary, and it's also to the point where you just really start to get that feel of unease. Like, they don't know what to do about this. Like, they've had a bunch of time to install an offense that would be, good and that would be able to spread the ball around. And listen, we've been saying it for a while. It's very telling when Christian McCaffrey goes out and then your entire offense falls off of a cliff. I mean, that was never sustainable. And Matt Rhule even mentioned the fact that Christian being out essentially forced them to be more versatile and try and be better in figuring out ways to spread the football around. And it just seems very uninventive. On top of that, one of the things that I think was fun to share, since Matt Rhule wants us to go more to a rushing attack rather than a passing attack, 25.2% of Carolina's rushing attempts have failed to gain any yardage. That's the highest rate in the league right now. So
how is that really the highest rate? That's crazy.
But it does it even sound that far-fetched to you? Like
80% of them have gotten yardage, though? Isn't that what that statistic means?
75, but that's not good. You got to think about like how often if we run the ball and it goes absolutely nowhere. Mm-hmm. Like it's a drop for a loss. Mm-hmm. Like I would be interested to see that. Like, I mean,
yeah, that stat wouldn't correlate really at all with total yards.
Let's not get too far off a track here. Yeah. You're right. So we can go down this rabbit hole and not be like, but is it really about rushing the football, or as much as this coaching staff? It seems like this is in, all right. Before Christian McCaffrey was hurt, right? He comes out, they give him 30 touches in week 1 or whatever it was. And then everybody gets up here. The reporters start asking him questions. Is the workload too much on Christian McCaffrey? Then the next week, they try to give Chuba the ball a few times, right? Like, it felt like, man, it's like they were reading the headlines, and now we got to give Chuba the ball a little bit. Then the next week, Christian McCaffrey gets hurt. And it's like, oh, well, now they're reading the headlines about that. And then it's like, well, Robby Anderson, we got to get him more involved. And all of a sudden they're forcing the ball to Robby Anderson, right? It's like and then Matt, and this is where the panic kind of is weird to me, is like all of a sudden, like if we would have run the ball more, the game would have been all that much different right there. And then he says this, the problems are glaringly apparent. We all know what they are. He said, I mean, his words were exactly that and I think if you are a Panthers fan, which if you cheer for him for 1 second or every moment of your life, you're a Panthers fan. But I mean, if you've been listening to these podcasts or whatever, is everybody knows that the problems right now or have been offensive line, questions about quarterback, and now questions about the coaching staff. Like, so yes, they are glaringly apparent, and we've all been talking about them for ad nauseum.
And you know what? Matt Rhule has been asked questions about the offensive line ad nauseum. And the reason why we're all feeling like they're starting to panic is because what are they going to say after each and every press conference? Well,
y'all were right.
Our O-line has to pass protect better. It's like it's going to end up being the same old thing. And we're trying to make moves and bring guys up from the practice squad. I don't even know how long Deontay Brown's going to be out, but it doesn't matter anyway because it's not like Matt Rhule would play him.
Who cares? That's just a name that we've all been saying forever. I was going to ask the other guys this: is it panic right now for the coaching staff, or is it just sort of the reality of it? You know what I mean? Is that like, what else do you say?
I'll tell you what my belief is. Like, what this makes me feel like is just, it reminds me of somebody who's in over their head, right? Like the way that
I don't like to hear this.
I don't either. And I'm sure that some of this can be changed, but how often have we said that this entire season falls back on coaching? Like, even when we didn't feel like we were winning, we felt like it was Joe Brady. We felt like Matt Rhule was horrible at time management, like all season. And then when things start to go the wrong way, you just start to have this domino effect, right? I am open to blaming Sam Darnold. Like, right, I have that ability to do that. Like, we can
Open
still do
to
that,
it, man.
right?
You got to just go ahead and do it.
Well, you've got to do that, but at the same time, like at some point, you've got to realize that maybe it's just the coaching. Maybe they don't know how to work these guys. Yes, we had a failure on our wide receivers by dropping 8 out of 25 catchable passes. Like, that's unacceptable. That's what they're paid to do, is catch balls in really important positions. And Robby Anderson failed too often. He was 6 of those drops in the first half, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think I read that stat. It's at some point you've got to just say, hey, listen, like, the coaching staff has failed to adjust after halftime every single game.
Mhm.
Like, they have not done anything. The third quarter, like, those third quarter stats are absolutely abysmal. Like, you should not, like, we have 7 total, or let's say 14 total scored points in the third quarter, and 7 of those are from your special teams. That's a problem. In 6 games, that's a huge problem. I think you need to start to address that. And I don't know that Matt Rhule has. And I like I said, in his press conferences, when he's making, I mean, we've all said it, like the way he approaches talking highly about people and the next day releasing them, the way that he approaches, like, giving away every, like, if he's really honestly talking about running more, well, now people know how to fucking plan against us. Why would you say that? Like, what is the point in telling us that we're going to be a more run-happy team?
It makes no sense.
We're about to pass
really does.
97,000 times. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right. We've got plenty to talk about, guys. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button. Be a part of the show. 252-228-5098. Let's go ahead and bring in a big-time member of Panther Nation and of this community that YouTube has been creating, and as the culture of the Carolina Panthers continues to grow. John, One Carolina, you can find him on Twitter at the One Carolina. John, welcome to the C3 Panthers podcast.
What's up, man? I finally made it. I feel like I've been donned now.
Hey, you're the man, dude. Hey, we love us some One Carolina over here, man.
Oh man, I appreciate it. It's a reciprocal feeling, man, because I feel the same way about you guys.
And we were all, I mean, look, is that fans are passionate. We're passionate. That's what we are. I never have claimed to be a football expert, just an expert football fan.
Same.
And we are supposed to be fanatical, so I am forgiving to people for their positions or whatever. So I don't ever like the high horse position. But let's go ahead and start off with somebody who has taken a little toll. And the question marks, and that's Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
We got to start with here is that Carolina Panthers have been through a kind of a merry-go-round of quarterbacks in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Darnold being our carousel.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold being the one that is this year's commodity. And he is who we have at this point. But started off pretty well in the first 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Cody will come up here and tell you, like, look, my man got 300 yards several times. All of a sudden, in the last 3 games, the turnovers have spiked. And questions have emerged if Sam Darnold is what they thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Sam Darnold's appearance or what do you think about him as a player in Carolina?
I think Sam Darnold, and again, thank you guys for having me tonight. I think Sam Darnold is a very interesting, quarterback prospect. Number one, just to kind of go back to who he was as a quarterback, in this day and time, quarterbacks are groomed at such an early age. Like, we watch what's going on with Arch Manning right now. And how the recruiting process is, going with him. I mean, even, Clemson's current quarterback, DJ Uiagalelei, and, so many others that have come through the, Pop Warner, some of those higher ranks, or whatever, and have been coached up for so long. Many people don't realize Sam Darnold was actually a linebacker in high school for a time, right? And he was a really good basketball player. So we're actually still watching Sam Darnold develop as an actual quarterback right before our eyes, because he's only 24 years old, I believe, right? And so I think that he shows the capability of being able to, be, I guess, a steady hand for the franchise, or a steady hand at franchise quarterback. But I think one of the biggest problems with him is sometimes it looks like he lacks confidence, because you can see it when he gets it, but then you can also see it when it leaves. And that's kind of been the story of him with the Jets has been the story of him with us early in the season. Obviously the 3-game start, 3-0, a lot of confidence. It seems like after the Dallas game, things just kind of, started unraveling. But I still see things that I'm hopeful for. I talked about today about his muscle memory. When you spend so much time trying to defend yourself against, rush all the time, it creates bad habits. So when you watch that first play, as I mentioned, you can see him jumping around as opposed to stepping up in the pocket. And here's what's interesting. If you go watch that play compared to the play towards the end of the game during that drive where they tied the game, he stepped up in the pocket and hit Ian Thomas on probably one of the more harder and more difficult throws, and really just the timing, that you would see by any quarterback at any level on any standard, right? So it just really doesn't make sense. So it's like, all right, is it the play calling? Is it him? It's just really interesting to watch this thing develop. But I believe that we still have something salvageable here. And to be honest with you, I don't think we have much of a choice outside of going with PJ Walker. So, it's interesting to watch to see what happens.
Do you think that maybe we were too reactionary to Sam's bad performance this past Sunday in light of, and I'll just throw this up on screen. This is from Mike Renner from PFF. He says Panthers receivers dropped 8 of Sam Darnold's 25 catchable passes on Sunday. Mm-hmm. That's the 6th most drops in any game over the last decade.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't even sound right. Like, how is that true? But I don't know. It is. My thing is this has been the game where we have now heard from the fans and people on Twitter and in our chat room the loudest criticism of Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. And some people feel like, well, no, he really is the same Sam Darnold of old. When you pressure him and get pressure in his face, he starts seeing ghosts and throwing into double coverage and really taking a bunch of chances that he probably shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. Do you think that we're having the same conversation about Sam Darnold if our receivers play a better game? Or do you think that Sam is kind of starting to show what kind of ceiling he actually has for us?
That's a great question. I would say, first off, to the fans, you're fair in your assessment. Like, it's not – I kind of pride myself on being the guy looking at the glass half full all the time. And I know sometimes that can come off as, disingenuous, right? But you're fair in your assessment because the only thing we're beholden to is greatness, right? As fans, like, that's just at the end of the day, right? But at the same time, I would reserve my judgment because we've seen, man, you just never know when these guys are going to pop, when it finally clicks. It's a whole new offense. It's a new coaching staff, a new team, a new city. There's so many different variables at this, right? But at the same time, you do have to look at some of the forced passes and the things that you see that trouble you. Like, for instance, that pick to Robby Anderson, when he's rolling out on a comeback route, there's really no way that you could drive the ball enough to even give him a chance at that ball, on that interception, right. Obviously. But
the play it took too long.
It did. It took a long time.
Everything, it was like, it wasn't even. All right, keep going.
Well,
it was just like nothing was
and
good.
Let me speak to that
really
quick. What's crazy about what you just said is, like, and I think I heard Tim Jenkins talk about this on you guys' show one time before about his Jets tape. That's one of the first plays, if not, was it? I missed it because I had some stuff I had to do and get home.
Me too. I was driving back from I-95.
It was literally the very first snap.
It was the first play.
And it was the very first one.
It was a good pick, to be honest. It was a good catch. The ball was kind of in the ground. It wasn't.
The ball should have been out of Sam's hands far faster. And
I agree.
The protection on that play was the best that I have seen it all year. It
was just shitty from the start. All right, so don't listen. Look, people are going to come out and say everything's scripted, and it is. They came out and tried to hit a big play in the first play. That was what it is they came out and they were trying to turn this ship. And maybe that goes to the coaching panic a little bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I don't even think it's panic because I think Joe Brady is learning on the job.
I do too.
And I got plenty to say, but the thing is they were trying to get the big play.
Right.
And then once it won't there, Sam saw it won't there, and then it was like, what the hell's happening now?
Take
Like,
it
he's
off.
like, oh shit, I'm about to get sacked. And then
Take
he
it off.
wasn't really about to get sacked, and then he kind of was, and then he threw it over to Robby. I mean, it didn't work. It didn't work at all, and it ended in disaster. I wanted just to bring this up though.
Go ahead.
You guys were talking about Sam Darnold. If he's like Cody, you said, what did you say? Is like, is this just, are we starting to ultimately see that is not right? To that
yeah,
effect,
I mean,
you
are
know?
we ultimately starting to see that there's a ceiling on him that we thought he would be able to supersede?
The only thing I would go ahead.
Or you also referenced though is that, or is it like if these guys would have caught the ball, would we be thinking of it?
Yeah, would we be having a different conversation?
So there's this like kind of thing in literature called like natural determinism. And like if you've ever heard of like everybody's heard of Call of the Wild, Jack London. And the idea is kind of like this, is that like it is what it is, like it can't be different. Isn't it? Do you think we're being a little too much? Like I feel like every moment, like all of a sudden now Robby Anderson sucks.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, he had a couple of bad games. And he is. I mean, like, I'm not trying to congratulate. I'm not trying to defend. But it's that, like, all of a sudden, like, he can't be good again. And now the other thing is ultimately, it's like, look, we saw 3 bad games from the Carolina Panthers and Sam Darnold. It can't work. It's over. That's how I feel like it is. It's like it's determined. No reason to watch anymore. You should quit.
Let me say this, right? So I'll give you this. and most people, you may get this right, but some people get it wrong. And I'll kind of loop this all together. Can any of you guys tell me what color the yield sign is? Like the road yield sign, what color is it?
Orange?
No.
I thought it was like yellow.
Yellow.
No.
White.
It's red. It's red.
It's red.
It is red.
Here's what happens. It's called unconscious competence. So I learned this.
Okay.
I'm a sales,
I like this.
Right? So sales geek. Unconscious competence is when your mind tells you a certain thing because you've seen something so much, so many different times. All we've seen over the past few seasons is we start hot and we slow down. We start hot, we slow down. We start hot. Right. So naturally, what we're not viewing and realizing that this is the second year of a whole new coaching staff and a new regime, a brand new GM. We got to give these things time to get cohesion, right? That's the first thing. Now, what we're learning, I saw a comment that someone posted earlier, right? They said that Joe Brady was given the reins. Maybe this was his opportunity to, kind of see what he could do on his own. Matt Rhule sounds like he's going to take over a little bit of the play calling. Now, I got to say this. Matt Rhule, to me, needs to take media training. Like, because some of these press conferences, I think he says too much. Like, get straight to the point and move on, man. You're not a preacher. Like, I get it. But get straight to the point, move forward. You don't have to. I know you got a hobnob with these guys, and I know you got people like Joe Person and David Newton, breathing down your neck, every week. But at the same time, like, just say what you got to say and move on. Leave that to people like us to say what we say. Leave it to the guys out there, but leave it all on the field. Just go in. You got your game plan. You know exactly what you want to do. Go handle business, right?
Have you heard the Chargers quarterback coach, though?
Brandon
He's
Staley?
He's like the best dude to talk to. Like, I would listen to him talk about anything. Like, whatever. If he could, if he would explain to me how to fix a car, I would listen to it.
Right.
Like, he could read War and Peace and you'd listen to the whole thing.
I mean, I feel like he gives the most information. He does the complete. Like, he's like if Matt Rhule's kind of in the middle to me. Some coaches like, I ain't even want to talk to you, like Bill Belichick. Like, I hate the way you look because you're a reporter. This other guy kills you with information. He's like, I'm gonna tell you everything about football till you just love me.
The reason I
What's
love
his
the
name,
spot.
Cody?
Is that the Chargers head coach?
Yeah,
Brandon Staley.
He's awesome.
Yeah, and by the way, before we go forward, real quick, order of business. Kyle Hampton with the $5 says, when Sam takes control over Brady's weak play calling, it looks great, even in the Dallas game.
Good point.
Appreciate you, Kyle. And then Grim Reaper gave us a $5 here just a few minutes ago. So once again, we appreciate the money. We never ask for it. It's always appreciated. But continue, John. Go ahead, man.
Well, I may be jumping forward here a little bit, but I think the reason that I love the position that we're in right now is that we're infrastructure building, right? I heard you guys talking about David Tepper earlier, and that look, I I actually put it together as an album cover called Fire Squad, just being funny. But, normally Dave Tepper's up there eating nachos or whatever with his wife. Nobody's there. He was just there by himself, right? And you could tell that, yeah, he was pretty upset. But here's the thing. The reason why I think David Tepper is going to give this time is because when you trade securities, you have to build infrastructure first. He's a hedge fund manager, so he knows this all too well. If you go look at where Scott Fitterer came from in Seattle, that's exactly what they were doing the 2 years previous of Russell Wilson getting there. Now, they kind of lucked up on that situation, getting Russell in the third round. But if you remember, it was 7-9, 7-9, and then they get Russell and it's 11-5. Well, what were they doing in those 2 years? It was infrastructure building. What I saw from Keith Taylor, I think Keith Taylor is going to be his version of Richard Sherman, right? Because of where he was drafted, not because of the style of play, but just because of where he was drafted, right? So it's just more infrastructure building. You bring in a Stephon Gilmore to just illuminate the room. It may not even be that he's the best player for us, but when you bring a guy in that knows how to get it done, he understands championship level football, then he's going to be a guy that's going to be able to, give these guys a little guidance on what they need to do to play the position. And for all we know, that it could be little small things that he told Keith Taylor just talking to him over the last, week or so that could have made all the difference with how he played on Sunday. So I just love seeing the infrastructure building. But one thing I got to say is the biggest difference between the Seattle situation and ours is that they did have a gadget player in Percy Harvin who was very similar to Christian McCaffrey, but they also had a bruiser at running back in Marshawn Lynch. And I feel like we have to get something similar to that because C-Mac, for as great as he is, the questions coming in, man. I mean, he's gotten, a lot bigger than he was when he was drafted, but I don't think he was ever really built to be a between the tackles, consistent running back for a long time. Like, yeah, it worked for a couple of years, but now we're starting to see the effects of it. So, with the infrastructure building, I think this will come over time, but I'm just looking forward to it. But obviously for the right now, we have to look at what, we have going on and, we just judge it game by game. So I'm excited, though. I got a positive outlook from where we're going, and I like what I see. I think some adjustments need to be made, and I think they will do just that.
Before we go any further, man, we have a lot of love for One Carolina in the chat room, man.
Oh, appreciate it.
We love John. He always brings great takes on this Panthers football team. But before we go any further, CK, look, man, we got a bunch of freaks in the chat room, man. And
I love this part.
They got a very particular fetish, and dude, we don't kink shame around here, man. So why don't you give them what they're looking for, Big Papa?
Ladies and gentlemen, of all ages, if you haven't hit that like button yet, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Right now, I'll give you guys some idea. We have 127 of you legends in here right now watching. See this big bald head? It needs a like. I need that affirmation in my life. Subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame. 128 people watching. 63 thumbs up. Man, listen, if you want to continue to support the content and help us grow and help us get more fans to Panther Nation, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hey, man, tell a friend, any of your Panther friends who want to come and hang out, talk some football. Hey, man, this is the place to be, dude. Hit the notification bell to get updates every time we go live. Man, C3's got it going on for you, man. You already know. Hit them likes.
Look, do you see this comment right here? It says, Professor was ready to run Shaq out of town before the season. Now this dude has proven he's the most important player on this defense. Now, let me say some things. Is that, run him out of town? Yeah, I guess so.
He misspelled
is I said 100 is that we drafted this guy and I got so hype on him being like kind of what Jeremy Chin, we think he could kind of be like this super versatile player that no one's ever seen before. That's what I was sold by Dave Gettleman that Shaq Thompson was. And then 5 years later, he had his first good season. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that was like Shaq Thompson he had a great 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
He had a great 3 games right
Carolina
in a row.
did. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
know-
mean, and so you know what? I mean, like and he's the only linebacker that's played more than like 27 snaps on the field at this point. Jermaine Carter Jr. is fine with me. Like, I don't think he's a weakness or anything like this.
I've been impressed with Jermaine.
Sure, I like.
I was hard
he's
on
got
him.
a
He's
lot of
growing on me.
attitude.
Yeah, he's going
Got a
on
lot
me
of
too,
attitude.
man.
Before we get too far away from Sam Darnold, can I ask a question about
Yeah,
Sam Darnold?
come on, let's go.
I believe Sam Darnold. I see things in him that I feel like he can be a quarterback, like you said, that can steady the ship, and he can be a franchise quarterback. I want to know why we're not calling more like called runs for the quarterback, or why he's not rushing the ball, especially in this game.
Yeah.
It seems like there were a few times he could have taken off and run, even if you didn't get 2 or 3 yards. It's better than throwing interception, fumbling the ball, incomplete pass. I just didn't see that in this game, what I've seen all year. Do you think he's strong enough to be an offensive weapon with his legs, or was it just a fluke we've seen so far?
No, I don't think it's a fluke, because if you go back to his tape at USC, you know, he was considered a guy that could. Jordan Palmer talked about this a lot. Like, he's a guy that does something different. Like, he kind of scrambles within the pocket, but when you watch the run that he ripped off, you know, going into that, you know, I guess a minute left in the game,
Big one,
a huge, you know, and so.
And he had that one back when he played for the Jets last year. Remember the one too? He's like high stepping on Muggs or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it was against the Broncos, if I'm not mistaken.
He won the angry running trophy for that one, I think.
Yeah, Thursday Night Football, and he scored. You know, it was like a 60, 70-yard run. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, obviously his first instinct is to throw the ball, but, you know, I think that there's been such a stigma put on the running quarterback, right? That a lot of these guys try to, you know, not, and I don't know this for a fact, you know, I'm just kind of speculating, but, you know, sometimes I think these guys may have it in their mind, like, you know, I always need to be looking pass first. Plus you got receivers. I'm going to tell you something interesting. Bat Daddy, I think it is. I'm sorry. So, which dope Mjolnir, by the way. Do you have Stormbreaker?
No, I have just Mjolnir.
Okay,
Stormbreaker,
cool.
yeah.
But one of the things that I think is I'm a Marvel nut. But
hey, we're all nerds up in here, man. You're amongst family. It's all right.
Awesome. So, you know, I think that one of the things I noticed, man, like Robby had a lot of those drops that we talked about. Do you guys think that there's potential that he could be forcing the ball to Robby just because Robby's?
I think it was clear in that game, like in the last 2 games. I think in the last 2 games, I don't even feel like Robby was not getting looks in the beginning either. It was almost maybe that DJ had a lot in the first 2 games.
DJ was shut down in this game too.
But like, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, in this last game,
defensive
it was
back
clear, and then they kept
very
going
well.
back and back and back to him.
But to finish that point, Bat Daddy, the one thing I will say is this: it would only help to add it to the repertoire, right? Because if he can do it, not necessarily that they're calling like design runs for him, but what I would say is that, you know, if he looks and, you know, second read and, hey, if you got an open lane, man, take off, because it's going to keep the defense
Like
honest.
a QB draw every
Yes.
now and then or something like that. Yeah, man, like 6 plays a game. How about that?
If you go back and look at that first play,
game.
look at that first play where that pocket had such a good pocket. Both the line, there was nobody rushing, but the 4 people on the line. I mean, they stopped the 4 people on the line, but everybody else was still holding back. They were looking for him to run for that first play.
Yeah, but you know, one of the things that happens within the confines of a play like that is that if the quarterback is a steady hand looking off safeties, you know, kind of misdirection with your eyes, that's a big thing. Like, you never noticed, like Tom Brady faces those kind of things all the time where linebackers drop back, they're only rushing 4 guys. Like, what blew that play up to me is Sam dancing around, because receivers start to change their routes when that happens. So like when you're jumping around, like it's like, okay, well, let me start improvising, you know what I'm saying? And then Robby comes back on a curl, and it's like that probably wasn't even designed to be the exact route formation, but it just was kind of improvised because they're watching, you know, obviously once they're outside of the route, what the quarterback's doing. And so to me, it just kind of felt like, you know, it wasn't, if he would have stepped up in the pocket and just stayed a steady hand at that time, knowing that he had the protection, then that play probably turns out better. Or he gets somebody open, or the chance to just throw it away, as opposed to just having the happy feet.
I think Sam, you said it right at the end there, happy feet. Sam has happy feet. Part of that is because
he didn't in the first 3 games, though. And that's what we were saying. He was looking more confident, this and that.
But
this is a systematic failure. This isn't a one-person failure, and he is part of that system. He's failed as well.
Well, it is, but I think it's a cumulative effect as well. The offensive line, frankly, to me, continues to get worse every single performance.
Awful.
Mm-hmm. So
this one might have been a little bit better than the Eagles.
But then even when because listen, on that first pass of the game, I'm telling you, that damn pocket was pristine. He had time to throw the football, but it's like he's always anticipating that he's about to get blown up. So he starts to panic. He wants to get the ball out soon. And then he starts to scramble.
He didn't get the ball out soon. It was like a 4-second play.
There wasn't a need to scramble, though. And he still did it. And, Robby was trying to, as John said, come back to the football. And he just throws a boneheaded interception to the sideline. Like, if you're going to throw that ball, it needs to be at the very end of a 3-step drop, turn, and fire. And he didn't do that, man. And I think those are the things that are on Sam Darnold. It's not that I don't think Sam can't be better, because I do think he can be better. But my biggest fear, and I've been saying this for a while now, is just like the Jets didn't provide him a scenario to be successful. Man, looking at this offensive line, I don't know what we're going to be able to do to calm his own nervousness and make this offensive line better for his pass protection.
Cody, can I say something?
The opportunity to do. Sure.
Tony, I know you were getting ready to go, but I want to say something real quick, because what you just said about the offensive line, let me tell you what makes me mad, man.
Yeah.
I saw something that play that I was telling you about. First of all, the degree of difficulty being like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like that first play versus that last play where he threw the ball on a rope. I mean, go watch that play for yourself. Watch the entire play develop when he threw that ball to Ian Thomas out of the end zone, right? The way that the offensive line blocked, you can just tell that these guys have it in them to be able to do this. I just wonder if they have a lack of confidence, because let me tell you what I saw. Michael Jordan, new install, right?
Yeah.
At left guard, you see he starts off, because they're only rushing, I think maybe 3-4 guys, right? He starts off doubling with Matt Paradis on the tackle. He backs off of him because he sees that Cam Irving is struggling back there, which obviously, okay, kill me for it. I know I've been the whole Cam Irving guy or whatever, but he sees Cam Irving struggling.
He's not been awful. I mean, he's been bad. He's not been the worst left tackle we ever had.
Michael Jordan peels off of him. I mean, this play design was executed to perfection. Lance Kendricks was literally step for step with Ian Thomas. He had to throw it in a place where only he could grab it, or he would have hit Lance in the back of the head, or Michael Kendricks, whatever his name is. But the point is that when Michael Jordan backs off of doubling with Matt Paradis, he goes back and absolutely levels what's his name? Everson Griffin, 97 for the Vikings. I mean, levels him, man. Sam steps up in the pocket, delivers a strike. And the reason that makes me so angry is because it's like, why can't y'all do this all the time? Like, what's the mental block there? But maybe that's one of those plays. Like I said, I'm a big fan of finding the win. You got to find the small win somewhere. I'm going to find a win when I show that tape and say, look, guys, I'm going to show you right here. You can do it. It's possible, right? But this was just on I mean, we're talking about streaks. Like every receiver was literally running. It was a man-on-man situation. Like it's like backyard football. And Sam delivered a strike. It can't happen. They just got to find the fire in the belly and get it done, man.
I think where I wanted to go with this is because look, it's everybody. We're going to talk about Sam Darnold. We're going to talk about this offensive line. The one thing that I don't want to kind of pull the pitchforks out on any one player. Like, all right, so for instance, Robby Anderson. I feel like this is that Robby Anderson has had a bad 3-game stretch. And he deserves to be criticized for it. But, I mean, it's like, oh, my God, his contract now, here's this. And they're just like, it's overkill. I look, as I watched the Robby Anderson press conference, he went out there and took his lumps. I mean, he just did. Like, what do you want him to say? What do you want to like apologize for playing hard? Like he went out there and he said, "I got to be accountable. I got to get better. I got to do my." He said all the right stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He did, and he hasn't played well. And it's all right to criticize him, but you don't need to be like, "Oh, he can't be a good receiver again." So what I'm trying to bring this, I'm going to circle this though. Then you could have that same conversation about Sam Darnold, right? Bad 3 games. Yes, criticism deserved. Should we is it the call of the wild? Do we got to say all of a sudden it can't happen? Now let's go to one other person who has taken some criticism or a lot of criticism and is due that. Joe Brady, the wonder boy who you guys came in and told me over and over he's about to revolutionize football. And I said this. You used to, man, we'll go back to the tape, Cody. You used to be like, "Oh, Tony, you're a hater on this." It's like you ain't all on the Joe Brady. And all I say is this is look, I hope he does fantastic. It's like, let's see. He hasn't been an offensive coordinator anywhere. He's had some success. You then link him to the Sean Payton joint. All this. You guys told me this, and I'm rooting for him. And now, 2 or 3 games in, and people are saying this guy doesn't know anything about football. I hope he's gone. And I would say just this is he's got a lot of room to improve.
Yeah.
And he is part of the issue, but people want to say everybody all of a sudden sucks. That's it.
No,
and I'm the guy that has hated all these motherfuckers from the beginning. And now I'm the defender of them.
Let me respond to that, right? So listen, I've been saying it since before the season started. Everybody has to prove it. No one can rest on their laurels. No one here has won a Super Bowl with the Carolina Panthers. No one here has even made it to a playoff game outside of Christian McCaffrey with another regime. So it's like, what I'm saying is this. When you have Sam Darnold having happy feet, throwing it into double coverage, forcing the football, when you have an offensive line that is one of the worst pass-protecting offensive lines in football, and you have your young, talented receivers dropping the football on routine passes, yeah, I'm sorry if Joe Brady is just not on the top of my shit list.
Everybody's on the shit list. Now, actually, everybody's at the top of the list.
I am not making excuses for Joe Brady. I do think our play calling in the third quarter has frankly been pretty bad. But I said
the execution.
I said this on the Friday free for all, that as long as this offensive line continues to be as bad as it is, and as long as the Panthers don't truly know what we have at the quarterback position, Joe Brady is never going to be the one that's going to have to fall on his sword for this. I'm sorry, he just isn't. Like, it's going to have to be on the players around him, and we're going to have a game where play calling is what loses us the game. How about this? I feel like our red zone play calling.
Ooh,
I feel like our red zone play calling and performance in the red zone has been much improved these past couple of weeks. Now we're starting to use jet sweeps in the red zone. That was a really nice pass that Sam threw to Robby Anderson on that 2-point conversion.
There was the shuffle.
Yeah. Then there was the shuffle pass. We really are doing some new, fun, and inventive things. My main criticism of Joe Brady kind of involves what John was talking about earlier, and
play clock, timeout.
Well, no, but it's also Sam has proven himself to be a mobile quarterback. He can run the football. He can pick up the yards if he has to. If your offensive line can't pass protect, why not roll him outside of the pocket on some bootlegs and cut the football field in half? Let Robby Anderson and DJ Moore get free in space and let Sam use his athleticism as a real weapon. And I feel like
that helps us struggling offensive line. That helps us struggling offensive line. If you don't believe it, then what did Cam Newton do for us for 9 years or whatever it was? Like, is that always with this shit line? But he gave them a little leniency there. And that's what the thing is. And you said it earlier, Cody, is you didn't like Matt Rhule coming out here saying now we got to run the ball. You know, like we don't have an identity. We have to run it this amount. And, you know, it was I felt like he was just a little shell shocked after that game Because in theory, the goal is that he's not really off message. It's you got to just be a balanced team. You got to play good defense. You got to pass the ball. You got to run the ball, and you got to not turn it over. That's kind of what he was trying to say. But then he got into this whole thing like, oh my God, we didn't run the ball enough, and he was a little shell shocked. But I mean, at the end of the day, is your offensive line isn't fantastic, but you got to help them out some too. And I mean, and you can help them out. Look, is by doing some things that just makes the defense not be able to double down on what they know. And we've heard it for the last 2 broadcasts, bro. What was there's the Saints guy, Vilma, which I like. Vilma, what's his name?
Jonathan Vilma.
Yeah, I liked him. I mean, I don't think he's bad. I think he's a pretty good color commentator. And they've said over and over that these cats are just not scared that the line can hold up. That so the secondary sits and can sit.
Yeah. All they have to do is rush 4. I mean, maybe give them a confusing defensive line, and that's going to throw that offensive line completely to shit because. Like they don't know how to handle
the run anyway. They didn't respect the run or the pass.
Like, here's what I'm going to say, and I don't want to get your opinion. There's a couple of points. Number one, it feels like to me, Joe, like I watch other teams that are good teams, and I know it's hard to do that because they have a lot of the pieces that we're missing, right? But it feels like the play calling when you watch a Ravens team or even a Rams team. Any of these guys who have all the pieces that they need to, they feel hard to defend, right? It feels like they have the perfect play call for most every situation. And it feels like every time that I am always so concerned with every time there's an important play that we're just going to play a screen pass, right? When there's 15 yards to go, which I get what the screen pass is meant to do. I have yet to see it be executed correctly over the past 2 years. I have yet to see it happen correctly or consistently, I should say. It just doesn't feel like we don't get our rub routes done. Like I don't feel like we have a rub route that actually seems to be successful. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of pieces that we seem to be missing. Second, and this is where I will put some blame on Sam Darnold. Like even when Sam throws the ball, does it feel like his release is super long? Like it feels like he takes forever to get the ball out of his hands when you watch him throw the ball, which then that's why I think some of the issues might come where he is now staring down his receiver because he's already in the process of a throwing motion. Well, that's where a lot of his issues come from is he's giving away where he's throwing the ball because he doesn't have that quick release like you might see in a Mac Jones.
There's a lot of nuances to his game that are lacking,
Well, I mean, there was a lot of information all at one time, but I want to try to break this down. I think just to kind of simplify it, you have to ask yourself, with Matt Rhule's press conference, there's always the in between the lines, that you have to read into. So when Matt comes out and says, we're going to become a more balanced, running team, or we're going to, obviously we can't, expect to, throw the ball 40 times a game or whatever. You almost have to ask yourself a question like, when do you cross the line between, just insubordination, right? Like, is this Joe Brady kind of like, hey man, I know I'm on a fast track out of here. I got to show like all this innovation and all this kind of stuff. Like, I think, sometimes smart people, like super, really smart, brainy people overthink the room. And it's like how hard would it be for like, if Chuba, rips off a 7-yard run to go play action and take a shot? Give yourself an opportunity at a flag, give yourself an opportunity for Robby to stretch the field, and you just don't see that pattern consistent enough, right? It's like, we'll go, 5-yard run with Chuba, and then it's like a quick 3-step drop on some, slant or something that, gets blown up, or go back to what Robby said about, the DB sitting on the routes. Like, there was no adjustment made there. So it almost feels like, no, I'm going to call the game the way that I have it scripted. I'm not going to make any adjustments. It's going to go the way that I say. And it's like, when you have Matt Rhule come out and say publicly, like, hey, we got to make some changes. Like, he's taking a direct shot, because usually you would say it in the press conference and it would get read back to you in the room. And it's like, I wonder the dynamic of that relationship, because sometimes it feels like maybe he kind of knows Joe Brady's kind of 1 foot out the door. So whatever he's going to do, he's going to do. Unfortunately, it's one of those situations where, you toe the line of balance between like, okay, like Joe Brady might not have called the greatest game, but we didn't, catch a lot of passes. So it just looks like there's just some, unaddressed tension, maybe in the offensive, meeting rooms and stuff that just needs to get figured out. I don't know. But, ultimately, I feel like I don't, the Joe Brady thing is really interesting to me because there's so many jobs out there that are opening. I've heard his name linked to LSU, USC, obviously staying in the NFL to go to the NFL really wants this guy. That's part of it. Like I said this on the show the other on Sunday, they're going to go off of whatever tape he put on that was positive. So if this team ends up, 8-9 or even 9-8 for that matter, Joe Brady's likely still going to get a job because they've donned him the new like brainiac guy, and they'll find any excuse for why Carolina wasn't able to do this, that, or the third to make him successful, and he'll still get a job, and then he'll probably get exposed, And so if that's the case, then so be it. But I would like to see us get someone in here. I heard somebody throw the name Pep Hamilton out earlier. I said Doug Peterson. I'd like to get a guy similar to Phil Snow who's not looking for a fast track out of town. Somebody who's going to be here, 2 or 3 years so we can build some continuity so that when he does leave, the infrastructure's in place, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Pep Hamilton was instrumental in Justin Herbert's first year over there with the Chargers, and Justin Herbert gives him a lot of credit for the success they had over there. By the way, shout out to Grayson McKinnon for the $9.99. Says we've never seen Sam Darnold with a good offensive line. Imagine if Brady never had a good offensive line, how good he would look. We need to give Joe Brady and Sam Darnold just a little slack. Build that wall, which is something that me and Tony have been saying about this offensive line forever. We got to build that wall and build it up strong. By the way, you're muted, Tony. We can't hear you.
I was about to say, look, and thank God I was muted because I was just screaming, "Build that wall, build that wall." And you're right. We have been saying that, and ultimately, we've been having the same conversation for 9 years. We've been doing this podcast since 2013. Right. So ultimately, it's like this stemmed from Joey and I, and we've been having the same conversation about the offensive line the entire time. At the very best moment, it has been adequate. At the very best moment in 9 years, it's been adequate. And the problems were often masked by one of the greatest players in football history, in my opinion, one of my favorite players of all time, Cam Newton. And I know you guys are going to be like, oh, you just love Cam Newton. Yeah, he was able to mask so much of this that we now have been arguing.
Yeah.
And look, it's not going to change. That's one thing I want to say is I don't want to, these are not excuses. They're not excuses for anybody. It's not an excuse for Joe Brady. It's not an excuse for Sam Darnold. It's not a pass for anybody. The problem is that the failures have been systemic at this point. It's not been one thing. The offense, and even on the offensive line in the past, one of the things about the past offensive lines, there were kind of some bright spots about it. And you would be like, oh, well, it's just fucking Byron Bell who's the problem. It's just Matt Khalil that's the problem, and that, oh, we got a good guard. Right now, the pressure up the middle has been relentless. And that's coming from a player who's your best guy, Matt Paradis. Terrible at this point. He's like the Mike Remmers of centers.
He's a tough watch. Yeah.
People who are like, oh, y'all are Cam Irvin defenders. No, we're not Cam Irvin defenders. It's just he ain't the only mug on this offensive line that is offensive.
Right.
It's true. And so then you go, oh, is Sam Darnold offensive? Yeah, he ain't played well. Is Joe Brady? Has he made some bad calls? Maybe. I don't even think he's been awful. I don't think everybody's been awful. That's the problem. It's not one fix.
Here's something I'm interested in. When you talked about a moment ago, or actually, I was thinking about something that when you were talking a moment ago, I don't know if you guys know Jeff Saturday. So when you're talking about Matt Paradis, like we may actually have a center on the draft, in the room right now. Jeff Saturday was drafted not drafted. He was picked up as an unrestricted free agent after the draft, like coming out of North Carolina. And he ended up, a center for Manning for, a number of years, obviously for,
he played with the Colts, right?
Yeah, Green Bay as well. And will likely one day, potentially go into the Hall of Fame. But the point is that Saturday started out as a guard. Like he was brought in as a right guard. He actually played right guard and got moved to center. So that there's a potential there for somebody to be there. Like, for me, what I can't understand is like, and maybe it was just a position situation, but why did Michael Jordan get the nod over Christensen? Like,
yes, we have to talk about this.
Yes, even over Christensen and Daly, who played well last year. I saw PMP in the chat room saying, well, 3 of these guys were on the team last year. Well, so was Daly, and everybody was raving about him, and now nobody's talking about his ass being good anymore. Christensen, go ahead.
We have to talk about that more, because this has been the frustrating thing about it, and it's just what makes no sense. And it's what's starting to drive people up a wall about Matt Rhule. This entire season, we have been pounding the table, asking, please, for the love of all that is good, give Deontay Brown and Brady Christensen a chance anywhere on the offensive line. They sure as hell can't be that much worse than the guys that we're sending out there on the football field right now. And then here we are, just a few days before we play Minnesota. We elevate Michael Jordan from the practice squad to the team, and he's already taking snaps at left guard. What are we doing here? Why are they so much more confident in a player that they haven't seen anywhere near as much than they are in the guys that they drafted to do this job? I mean, we're only left to think 2 things. Either our coaches are incompetent and they're just, not playing them for what reason, I don't know, or these players on the practice field or in meetings are just painfully behind the curve. And I don't know about you guys, but the latter doesn't seem very likely to me, man, based on what they did in preseason, what they did in film at college. I don't know. I need someone to help make it make sense. Like my man Justin says, because I don't understand it for the life of me, man.
Well, and like you said, I couldn't understand up until the point where we heard that he was hurt about Deontay Brown, not getting an opportunity, and, I pointed out some tape from the preseason, and I know it was just preseason, but him and, Christensen playing in tandem together, right guard and right tackle, was a thing of beauty, especially, when Chuba ripped off that, whatever 60-yard run, in the preseason. And I realized that, obviously he would be beside Moton, who's obviously a much better player and could, really help him. But, I hear that, there's a weight issue or something like that. But what I can't understand is like, this guy played championship level football with Alabama. Like it doesn't, and he started like at least two to 3 years. Right. So like, I don't understand, like, what's the difference there to here? Is it a temperament thing? Is it, there's just so many different questions to ask. Like, does Matt Rhule feel like, maybe they're trash. But does Matt Rhule feel like, he is sort of in win now mode, which if that's his feeling, and maybe that's the feeling kind of reverberating throughout the room, you always want to be in, we can win every game and, 1-0 each week. But at the same time, you got to understand, man, the situation that he took, like, they're attempting to rebuild an entire culture. This is more than just rebuilding a team, man. Like, we're trying to rebuild a culture of inconsistency. 2015 was a great year, but it was a one-off. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not something that we see consistently. And that's what I think they want to try to obtain. And I see flashes of where it can happen, but at the same time, these, situations with these offensive linemen, because if Christensen is not ready, then you just wasted a 3rd-round pick, and that's a problem.
Yes, man. It's a real big problem. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I was just saying with Brown, I mean, minus the injury, there's got to be something that they're seeing that we don't know about, right? It could is it possible there's something in-house, like disciplinary or something they're not wanting to release?
Yeah,
that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
And me too. I was thinking this. I thought the same thing at one point. Like there has to be something, like you said, there's a dynamic that exists between he and Matt Rhule that's just not there. Maybe he and Joe Brady, maybe what they're trying to do offensively, because, one thing about, Alabama, they basically win from the trenches, and that's kind of been their MO from, day one. We had a guy from where I'm from playing for Alabama at D tackle. I mean, just a mammoth of a guy. Right. And that's basically how that's their brand of football. Well, with what we're trying to do with a lot of, spread and, all this other kind of stuff. So I don't know if maybe he just doesn't fit the scheme, and maybe that's the reason. I don't know. But to me, it just feels like, I mean, this guy, like, he can't be any worse than what we've seen from, John Miller or, whoever they try to trot out there. Like, he's got to be, so when he gets healthy, I think you're going to really hear people like us and others pound the table where, there's some force going to come from up top to, like, give this guy a shot.
I wanted to ask you this too. Do you think that, I mean, again, we're all speculating here. No one really knows. None of us get to speak to Deontay Brown or know what's going on behind the scenes. But every time Deontay Brown's name comes up in a press conference, Matt Rhule brings up the weight loss thing. And yeah, he's a big boy, man. I think it was 365. He got down to 345. But I also know that, like, it's not one size fits all. And there are some guys that are just athletic, big guys. As a matter of fact,
Deontay Brown is Cody's yield sign, bro.
He really is. Dude, go on YouTube and look up Deontay Brown. There's an old video from when he recruited to Alabama. And there's a video of him dunking the basketball and, like, really going up and dunking the ball. Like, the guy really is just a big athletic dude. I'm wondering if even this weight issue that continues to be pushed in this conversation is overblown. If they just need to let him play at 350 or 355, wherever he's sitting at.
I guess there's a little more risk to injury because of how the weight, kind of bears down on extremities. But at the same time, I mean, look at Zion. When you look at an NBA comparison, I mean, Zion's a big dude. It's like watching him dunk is like watching a B-52 do, like, jet tricks. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy to watch him do like a 360 because he's in the air for so long because he's so big, and it just takes a long time for it to get going. But the thing is like, you can't trim a guy like that down because that's just how God made him, and so I guess you can get him down to a more, healthy standard or whatever. And maybe they just worry about, how practice would be on him. Obviously it's a little bit different level at the, NFL level, but like I said, he's played championship level football before. So I don't think it's unfamiliar territory. But once they get him healthy, they got to give him a shot, man. We just have to see. I know he's a low round draft pick, but we got to see what we got out of this guy.
Yeah. Again, Trey Smith up there starting for the Kansas City Chiefs, man. A bunch of other teams do it. I got into not a fight, but a back and forth debate with one of our listeners about this topic on Twitter today. And he seems to believe that, well, hey, man, if they're not playing them, then that just tells me that they're not ready yet and that our coaches don't trust them in that position, or else they would play them. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, but this coaching staff hasn't done a lot thus far this season to inspire faith that they would be making the right decisions, man. Nova Black, a longtime C3 fan, is in the chat room, and he made a point earlier. It's like, that sounds very Ron Rivera-ish. A lot of the things that we're doing, man. And now I think CK mentioned before the show, Brian Burns has seen an increase of snaps at the special teams. Dude, it's like, you can't make this up, man.
Did you hear Brian Burns' presser? I feel like he sounds a little frustrated right now, and he's a very cool, calm personality. So, like, his frustration, like when I say he sounds frustrated, is like way less than I would be frustrated. But Hassan Reddick has been just eating.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, at least on the stat sheet. I heard John say on his show there is the sack sheet and the stat sheet. And Hassan Reddick has kind of been eating on both. But he got that sack sheet for sure, man. I mean, he's just getting to the like he gonna get paid, or he better get paid. Like, what else you got to do to get paid? In my mind. But
here's a question:
Brian Burns in this press conference comes out, and he's a little irritated with David Newton. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this. Let me see. I think I might have it actually. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Might have it somewhere here. Then Brian Burns. What? Oh, YouTube's gonna eat my lunch for doing this. By the way. Do you hear that?
No, I don't hear about. You have to share the.
Hold on, I got you. I gotta just push this one little button here. I needed to.
Games later, you'll give it 500 games.
Do full screen.
I told you after those first 3 games, and then 3 games later, you'll give it 571 yards in a game. What would you have said?
What would I have said? You didn't tell me that, so I don't know what I would have said.
Yeah, it's hard to fathom back then, is what I'm saying. When you guys were playing so well, it's hard to fathom that you would allow that many yards in a game.
I mean, I don't know.
Is that what the fuck is that supposed to be?
Like, and you know what? Is that yes? Is that was it not the like? You know, I'm not trying to over criticize him for acting like that. Like, I mean, I don't even think that was not him. That wasn't super irritated. And he's usually, and look, Dave Newton, everybody loves Dave Newton. He's a drunk uncle. I know everybody hates
Not
Dave
everybody
Newton.
loves Dave Newton.
Yes,
you love uncle, Dave Newton.
I do. I love him. You know what? And at that point, I just felt that we're starting to see. Look, Brian, somebody asked him, is that he should he have gone for the strip sack instead of getting the sack? And he said straight up, is like, yeah, I kind of got a little greedy. I think like Brian Burns, that people are starting to feel pressure. And not that it's like, I mean, that Brian Burns is not a good player, but he's kicking ass. I mean, I don't care. Is that like even everything right now, 3-game losing streak. Even Brian Burns is feeling it on a defense that has performed better than average.
You know, I think that, like you said, he may be feeling a little pressure. You know, the pressure may be that, you know, they brought in a guy to kind of be, you know, in tandem, you know, with him. And, you know, he's just not up to snuff.
He's getting paid. I'm not. God, right. A little bit.
Yeah. So
a little bit.
But I think
you would be like that just a hair. Is that like, look, that he missed he's missed a couple of play. He hasn't finished them. And look, as you know what, he's flying around, he's going crazy. So I don't it's not a criticism, but there's like if he would have made these 3 plays, they would have been game-changing sacks or strips. And we're talking about like each one of them could have been worth like $1.2 million. I mean, if you think about like, I'm sure he's saying this in his own mind is, I saw this season, we had 20 sacks in the first 3 games. I'm sure he envisioned himself playing better.
Yeah.
And like even the best players on this team, Robby Anderson is an example of this to me, is that even they are feeling the pressure.
Can we admit now that Brian Burns, that is, and it's not even just this game, but I feel like that has been a good criticism of all of his near misses. By the way, there are now multiple near misses from Brian Burns, where it's like, dude, my man is a day late, dollar short.
It
isn't, Tony. And let me tell you why it's not fine, man. Because I understand like Von Miller really kind of, you know, installed it in these pass rushers that go for the strip sack, get the ball out of their hands, force a fumble. And hey, I get that. But he's not at that level yet, man. He's still trying to prove himself to be one of the more dominant pass rushers in the NFL. I want to see him use those incredibly long arms and just wrap up, man. Get the sack. Quit always trying to do a little bit extra. Secure the play first. and get the sack and quit trying to do all the extra stuff. He's still young. In time, that'll come. That'll be another tool that he'll be able to add to the tool belt. But right now, there have been too many misses. And I mean, listen, if he would have gotten that sack on Kirk Cousins and Kirk Cousins doesn't run for that first down, that's a game changer for the Panthers right there. And so, yeah, I think it's a reasonable
like, what do you mean? Like, if he did, yeah, I mean, he was trying to get it.
No, yeah, but he needs to make the tackle the quarterback. He's trying to punch the football out of the hand.
I can say that about a lot of plays. Yeah, a lot of players and a lot of plays.
Yeah, you got to
finish. Is that it's a game of inches? It's a game of this and that. Like, if it happens, it's a fantastic play. The game over. And you know what? To be honest, and look, and I've been flogging the same horses on this podcast for a long time. But there are certain plays to me in my mind that have kind of set the trajectory of games and even seasons, right? And so I go back, all right, most recently, the very first play or second play of the game in the Dallas game, we almost get a sack on Dak Prescott, and he does a stupid pass to somebody that looked like a fumble to me, that Ezekiel catches and goes for like 20 yards. All of a sudden, the first play of the game, you get a 7-yard loss. What was a 7-yard loss all of a sudden became like a 16-yard gain. All of a sudden, it's like a different. The times change. Right? There's like 3 or 4 of those plays in that game where we did everything right, pressure, this and that, and somehow they got positive game. Other plays in history of the Carolina Panthers that represent this to me is, I swear that after the first game in 2016, after the 2015 season, Cam Newton leads the team down at the last moment against the Denver Broncos, who had just beaten them in the Super Bowl. And then Graham Gano misses a game-winning field goal. All of a sudden you make it, and then the whole 2016 goes to shit. You can call me superstitious. You can call me whatever. Michael Orr then gets hurt, and the whole fucking thing comes off the wheel. But I believe that if we go and kick that field goal and beat the Denver Broncos, the whole 2016 season can be different. And so what I'm saying is, to just loop it back to Brian Burns, is that they are super close. They are. And the problem is those are game-changing type plays. But I don't know if I blame it on him. It's just at the cards, like he as basically said, haven't folded his way.
Where do you fall on this, John?
Well,
go ahead, Batman.
Well, no, I was just going to ask, like, if he's barely missing these tackles, would we rather him be doing that than not be getting penetration at all? Like, if we're not calling his name for any reason at all because we never see him, will we have more complaints about him than the missed tackles?
That's a part of my criticism.
Yeah. Right.
It's because he does get off the line. He does win his one-on-one matchups. Brian Burns does have one of the nastiest inside spin maneuvers in the NFL right now. He has far too much skill and ability for him to have this many continual
what do you want to be different?
Time and time again.
What do you want to be different?
I want his technique to be better. I want him to extend his arms, and I want him to wrap up. I want him to go for the hit instead of always trying to hit the football out. If you see he's in mid-motion and the ball is right behind him, then yeah, go for it. But you need to get better at whenever you've gotten your guy beat, I want you to wrap up and take down the quarterback. I don't think that's
so
too
dramatic
much of a criticism. I also feel like I'm being fair here. John, where do you fall on this, man?
I think Brian's going to be fine. I think sometimes you just have to be reminded who you are, reminded of your ability, watch some tape to see what you did wrong, and, kind of will yourself back into confidence. I do think that the Hassan Reddick dynamic is a real thing, because Hassan is off to a ridiculous
insane start, bro.
Yeah.
What's he got, like 8 sacks right now?
6.5, I believe, right? So,
That
was
6.5.
Yeah,
it's a lot. I mean, I know it's a lot. Like, and they got the scoop. He scooped the ball up. Like,
I mean, if he finishes like this, it's likely that he'll be he probably won't win it, obviously, but he'll be in discussion for, defensive player of the year, right? And so, like, his name will be floating around, obviously. But I think that, like I said, Brian's just got to get back to what he does, because the reality is that Brian, while he doesn't finish on sacks, like, he's been, pretty solid, stopping, some outside runs that come his way, shedding off blocks to be able to, make some open field tackles and things like that. So he's been showing up. It just hadn't been showing up on the sack sheet, if you will. So, and then that, obviously, I agree with Cody 100%. Like, if you close in on Kirk Cousins at that point in the game, like, I understand your mentality, because, I saw that, in my mind, I was thinking of that play where he strip sacked Matt Ryan, and you kind of, when you can do that so easily, you do it consistently as he's done before, obviously that's going to be your first point of contention. Like, you're going to try to, make that happen. But I think when you're in that kind of situation, man, you just got to get the sack. And I think that they'll probably, try to tell him that, like, when they watch the film, like, hey, man, you got to close right there, And so now, obviously, I'm not going to hang, what happened in the game or the balance of the game on Brian, because we should have never, been at that point to begin with. But, that is one of the moments in the game where you just had an opportunity. You got to take it.
This leads us to a discussion, is that while I'm trying to be, I would say, like, defensive of Brian Burns or this and that, and, like, look, is that everything has been a problem. When you're losing, everybody's a problem. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's like, when you're losing, that means it's not on one person, it's on everybody. And this defense in the first 3 games looked like it could have been, like, on a pace, and we didn't try to get out of sorts, but it looked on a pace to be like a historically very good defense. Mm-hmm. I would say a very good defense, a historically good defense. You know what I'm saying? They put up a bunch of sacks in the first 2 games, limiting the people's yards, and then we ran into Dallas, and all of a sudden it kind of evened out the numbers. Let's talk about this defense for a moment. Stephon Gilmore coming off up list, I guess, or suspended. So AJ Bouye just came off the suspension list, or where he did his 2 games or whatever he had to do. Now Stephon Gilmore, CJ Henderson has been out. This defense has not been, you know what? It's been pretty good in the early parts, and then we can make excuses, but they have not been shut down. What does anything change this week? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't
this
think
defense as a whole, like, kind of a macro perspective with Stephon Gilmore as a part of it.
I think that, obviously him coming back and being potentially available, could make some things change. But man, defensively, I think we get better when Shaq gets back. But against the Giants, who aren't really a very good scoring, offense, I think we have an opportunity to build some tape and some momentum that takes us to the next level. But I do think that Stephon Gilmore's presence will certainly be something that they, build upon. And
he has to play.
Yeah, I agree.
CJ Henderson, after like 3 days of being on this team, Stephon Gilmore is the former defensive player of the year or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, like, if you can't just go out there and tell him to play man to man, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? He is going to play, and he's going to be a bright spot. Not a bright spot. Like, I think he's going to be a game changer all of a sudden, but it's like not a liability. And is this a ridiculous question? Because we're going to debate it tomorrow.
Okay.
On the show, Cody. Right? We are going to debate on debate my take.
You mean you're gonna debate me and lose like you always do? Yeah,
I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you a little teaser. I think we should trade Stephon Gilmore.
What? This man has a better snap.
We can trade him to the Buccaneers for a 2nd-round pick right now.
Are you kidding?
Richard Sherman got to
the Bucks.
Yes, fuck it. They're trying to make the Super Bowl. We're not going to have him next year. We're not going to have – I mean, and if we do, is it going to be – all right, so, yeah, we have Stephon Gilmore. But what we did is this. We traded a 6th-round pick, and everybody's like, oh, if we don't re-sign him, we get a 5th-round compensatory pick. So it was like already an upgrade. What if we traded to trade – we ultimately traded a 6th-round pick to get a 3rd or a 2nd. I mean, is he like all of a sudden we're gonna go on a Super Bowl run? No,
you don't want to at least see what the man can do for us first.
man. I feel like you know what is that we went into the season thinking that all of our corners sucked. I almost feel like we're kind of deep in the secondary at this point.
So
you guys are talking about Keith Taylor. You're talking about Dante Jackson. You're talking about this. We got C.J. Henderson now. Like, man, like nobody saw us having Stephon Gilmore. Trade this man. We got no picks next year. Get us a second round pick.
See, I think what you just said is correct, but with a different player. I think C.J. Henderson. I said that on my show Sunday that I think C.J. Henderson could potentially be the bait, but the reason why I say no to that is because you just talked about trading him to a potential Super Bowl contender. Tony, let me tell you something, man. What we saw in the first 3 games was part because of Christian McCaffrey's greatness, right? And what we saw offensively consistently, right? What happens if I just want to put something together for you here, right? If you get a healthy Stephon Gilmore, healthy Miles Hartsfield back, healthy Christian McCaffrey, healthy Shaq Thompson, and we're somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's say, I think Christian's out 3 more games. Let's say we 2-3 in those games, and we figure out a way to make it to the playoffs. Like we got to split with the Bucs. But if we are 10-7 and find a way to squeak into that 5th wild card spot, right? I don't think we're a team you want to face. I honestly believe that we could be a team that can string some stuff together. No,
we're not in a win. So at the same time, like if the Bucs are in and all the people are poo-pooing me in the chat, and that's fine, but the Bucs are in a win now moment. We're not. Like if we get 12 wins this season, get a while. Like if we make the playoffs and lose in the playoffs, people be like, "Oh, this was most best season ever."
Tony, let me ask you a question.
Nobody ever even walked into this season think we're gonna make the playoffs.
We can't give our division rival the pieces.
No,
to go get another Super Bowl, Tony.
But Tony, we're gonna give them what they want now when we're not gonna win, and then we're gonna reap the benefits. They're gonna get old. All of a sudden, Tom Brady's gonna get old. All of this. It's like, what are we gonna try to do? We're gonna try to get a couple of jabs in right now when they're still going to beat our ass.
Tony, let me ask you a question.
I'm talking about this. I'm talking about setting some landmines out for the future.
I think you've already lost debate my take. That's
okay.
This is a good
comment. Let me ask you a question, Tony. Do you know, you talk about win now mode versus a team that can't win the Super Bowl. I'm going to give you a case of 3 teams, right?
All right.
The Dallas Cowboys in 2007 were in win now mode. They were 13-3. Remember that team? Marcus Spears, T.O., Marion Barber. They had a squad, right? The New England Patriots were 16-0. They were in win now mode. Who won the Super Bowl? The New York freaking Giants at 10-7, who lost to the Dallas Cowboys and went on a run through the entire playoffs on the road.
One lucky ass play on the goddamn helmet.
Hey, buddy.
But they made it to the Super Bowl.
Both of the times that the Giants won the Super Bowl, they were wild cards, weren't they?
And let me tell you this. They were. They went through the whole playoffs on the road, and that one lucky play still had to lead to Eli Manning. Eli Manning had to hit Plaxico Burress to win that game. They were still down in that game. Eli Manning had to hit that.
Everybody on this show has been talking about nothing is good on this team.
I don't agree with that.
All night long, people have been saying offensive, or actually not on this show, but in life, they have been saying Sam Darnold's terrible. Like this and that. Do you think that in that wild card year, they were just totally shitting on everything? They had a good defense. All right, I don't know.
If you still have a chance,
we're the New York Giants of what was it? 08, you said?
07, 08.
07.
You know how many? Let me give you some context.
Man, I remember that year. So look, that kind of is a great take. Like I can't fight that. That's actually the team.
I told you, you've already lost debate my take.
No.
Let me give you some context, right? In that same season, Eli Manning once threw 4 interceptions in the game and no touchdowns, right? In that same season. Yeah. Eli Manning threw 23 touchdowns to 20 picks.
You on tonight.
I'm telling you, man, it's the NFL, man. You never know. This team could string it together at the end and become a team that you just don't want to face. It happens all the time.
But all right, you're right. That could happen. But am I ridiculous in saying that Stephon Gilmore? Imagine if he just came out and we could get a ton of value for him. We could still be that team without Stephon Gilmore.
No, it's not going to be that.
Why can't we be the 2007 to 8 Giants without Stephon Gilmore and get a 3rd or a 2nd round pick? When a team like that's almost like saying this, yes, somebody put their money on 13 in a roulette and won.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
you know, I mean, it's like you are like the Giants of that year beating one of the most impressive teams in the history of the world, and then going on to win the Super Bowl is kind of like finding a lottery ticket on the ground.
Well, but Tony, let me ask some.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little bit of
let me ask.
Well, Dilfer won with this
Tony,
fantastic defense. I'm just saying this is that look, we don't have to have anything from Stephon Gilmore. We might be able to trade him right now. Imagine if you just picked up a card off the ground and it was baseball, and then you could hand it to somebody and give you $10 for it. But or you would have maybe worth $200.
Hold on, Cody.
Why not just get $10?
Go ahead, John.
You would have to do that twice because New England beat them in the regular season. That's what I'm saying. They played him and beat him in the regular season.
It's like we could get a 2nd round pick for him, I think. From
no. I have to take that right now. Let me tell you why, Tony. Let me put this. I'll tell you exactly why, Tony. Because listen, the trade deadline is November 2nd. We're the 19th of October right now. That means
we got 3 weeks.
Hold on. That means that if a team is going to trade for Stephon Gilmore, they're only going to have 2 games versus the Giants and the Falcons to make that evaluation to want to trade for him, and you're going to have to pay him after this year is over. You are not.
He's done. His contract's over.
You are not.
His contract's over. You don't got to pay shit, bro. You don't got to pay shit.
So
you don't have to pay anything. He's a free agent after this year. That's the whole thing.
Why would the team give up a 2nd round pick for that? That isn't worth a 2nd round
because
pick.
They trying to win the fucking Super Bowl.
That's a 2nd round pick. That's not worth a 2nd round pick.
Let me tell you something.
Oh my God. What do you mean it's not worth a 2nd round pick?
It's not worth a 2nd round pick.
You're right. Don't win back-to-back Super Bowls and just nut on everybody's faces. God,
not with a 32
it's totally worth it.
No,
it's totally worth a 2nd round pick.
A 32-year-old corner who doesn't have any more years on his deal. You're only going to get to see him play 2 games before you have to trade for him, and you're giving up a 2nd round pick.
How
Tony,
about a 3rd?
I want some of whatever you're drinking.
Tony, let me ask you a question.
How about 3rd or 4th? We would make 2 picks. We would make money off of that joint.
Let me ask you a real question. Do you believe we have a better chance of making the playoffs with or without Stephon Gilmore?
Oh, come
on.
I
mean, obviously, it would be silly if I said we had
that's
less
what
of
we're
a
saying,
chance.
man.
But I would also say we would have a better chance of making the playoffs if we got traded for a guard, too.
Right. But
so you're saying, like, it's not like Stephon Gilmore all of a sudden it's going to fucking make our offense score points in the 3rd quarter.
I want you to visualize something. All right. We're at the final.
Mad that you guys aren't on my team.
We're at the final 3 games of the season. 2 of those 3 games are against the Bucks. We're in a push for the wild card position. All right. The Bucks have already clinched the division. That's already done, right? We don't have Stephon Gilmore, but now they do. And we have to face them twice in the final 3 games.
Yeah, and Sam Darnold.
Hold on. Can I stop this? All of this is we come into this show.
We're just going
and everybody's like, it's all over. The whole like this, and I'm not talking about the panel members, but ultimately is that people are in here saying the offense sucks. Sam Darnold sucks. The offensive line sucks. And now I'm the person that's saying, let's trade away Stephon Gilmore, and you're like, well, we might make the playoffs.
Well, you're talking
and
about
win a
tanking.
no, see,
you're
Kate
talking
just
about
came out and
tanking.
it's like, no, I'm not
But you're
talking about
talking about
tanking at all.
Why would you trade
I feel like
Stephon Gilmore?
Stephon
I don't
Gilmore
see
is
it.
like a bonus. It's like
We
a
just-
total bonus.
We
Like, I
just
didn't see
traded for
that
the man,
coming.
and you're going to trade him. Why? The only reason you're trading away
We only
assets
have him for
is if
7
you feel like
games.
you're
bro.
already drafting
is
for
a-
next year.
But
He's
what are you
a
gonna
Panther for 7 games.
what are you gonna get for
That's
him?
all
then?
he is.
You traded
He's
what,
a
6th round
Panther
pick
till
for
the
him?
end of the season, homie. Like, so
Right.
you guys are acting like I'm like talking about Brian Burns or something. No,
Hey,
he
Tony.
ain't even played a snap.
But what will you get for him, Tony? That's the thing. We gave a 6th round pick for him, right?
Yeah,
But can I-
so
well,
anything
there's
better
something
than
else-
that
Give us
is
better than
money
that?
made, homie.
But is
There's
somebody going to
something
give us
else-
better than that?
There's something else
Yeah,
you're
hell
missing.
yeah.
No, and we just
You're-
traded for that?
Tony, you're missing something else too,
I don't
man.
know.
We
Hey.
have 2 young corners on our football
We're
team.
gonna win the Super Bowl.
And
That's what I meant.
CJ Henderson and JC Horn. You don't want them to learn a little bit under this veteran man that's
Under
been there,
7,
done that,
7
been in the
games,
Super
man.
Bowl.
All of a sudden, these
They've both
motherfuckers
been to
gonna
South
learn.
Carolina. Like that's
Socrates up in
knowledge
here.
that you're not just gonna come across always, man. We're better for having Stephon Gilmore, and unless we're willing to tank the season away
Wow.
right now, we need him.
I agree.
The other
But
part
you know
is
what?
we are 1 game out of a wild card spot, just so you know.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
As of right now.
We're at
If-
this-
As of right now, yeah.
If JC Horn was here, would you feel the same way about Stephon Gilmore?
Hell yeah, because we were
But
thinking we had
don't
all these
sit there.
balling ass motherfuckers.
No, I'm
But
not
right
knocking
now,
you.
our
Yeah.
defense just let a team march down with 42 seconds and tie it up against us. So sorry, is that like you can shit on Sam Darnold and the
Could have
offense all
used
you want?
Stephon Gilmore. Could have used Stephon
Oh yeah, and then we
Gilmore.
would have won
maybe.
the Super Bowl.
Can I
No,
tell
that
you?
was
We
Can I
weren't
tell
in
you?
the Super Bowl.
Can I tell you who you're more likely to get a
yeah.
2nd round pick for? Is Dante Jackson.
bullshit. You
Mo-
think that someone would trade you? They're both going to be free agents this year. No
Right.
way. No way.
You're
No
more
way. I
likely.
disagree
You're more likely to get it out of him
100,000%.
because number one, he is at the end of his contract. He is a rookie, right? On his rookie contract, I mean, and
It
so this
doesn't
would be
matter.
his-
He's going to
hold
be a
on.
free agent.
He hasn't. If you wanted to re-sign Dante Jackson at the end of this year, he's not going to be as expensive as Stephon Gilmore, and you have a longer likability of him actually surviving a 5-year contract or a 4-year contract than Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore is getting to an age where he's
But
an
DJ
old
ain't going to
football
make
player.
the Bucks. All right.
That's the
I
point right there.
disagree.
The last point that CK made, that was
Mhm.
the point. If you're doing it before the trade deadline, yes, Dante would be more enticing for a 2nd round pick than Stephon because of the injury history. That right there alone, right? But
Well, yeah, because Gilmore's been around since like 2012 or 2013,
Absolutely.
and he has been injured a ton, but he did have a 3 or 4 year stretch. So he was injured from like 2013 to 2018, but then like 2018, 2019, he just blew it up.
yeah. But you know what, Tony, I got to give you respect for going there, with your take. I live by saying that if everyone is thinking the same thing, nobody's thinking. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta at least throw it out there, even though it's crazy. But you got
I
give
just
this man-
no,
don't give
it's
this
not
man
crazy. It's
props
just a
his
rental. I feel like we're
nonsense.
just getting a rental, homie. Like, you know what I'm saying? Is
Right.
that going to really make a long-term difference for our team?
well,
Is
let me
Stephon
rephrase.
Gilmore going to make a difference beyond our team than this next 7 games?
Where you said
And that's
is crazy.
kind of like where I'm interested at is we don't have a 2nd round pick. Cody, what are the picks next year? We got a first
We have
and a
1 pick in the top 100 next year. We don't have a 2nd round. We don't have a 3rd round.
Oh my God.
So yeah, we're bearing
So,
in the
like,
draft
that's my
department
point. Is
too,
that
man.
yes, is that he would certainly help us for the next 7 games. But are we really? If you guys are talking about his injury history, this and that won't warrant a trade or whatever. Is it going to warrant us? And as Cody is saying, who's the better pick for Dante Jackson? Who's going to be more expensive next year? Are we legitimately going to sign Stephon Gilmore back? And if the answer is no, you know what I mean? Like, if it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not in the long-term plan of this team, then getting an asset for him is not the most ridiculous thing. I'm sorry. Is that it will work for 7 games. You have a 7-game, you're leasing him for maybe not 7, whatever it is. We're at 6 games. So what? There's 17 games. So
11 games.
Yeah,
I'm
11 games coming.
I
So, yes, he will make a difference this year. But I mean, like at the end of the day, we don't have a second and a third and a fourth or a third round pick. And if getting him, what was Richard Sherman? Out. He's about to go on IR probably for the hamstring, just like that. They're trying to win a Super Bowl. I don't care if they're a division rival.
Man,
Give me a fucking draft pick.
If you think that this is a dumpster fire now, if they trade him to the Bucks,
oh my goodness,
it's even more. It's a bigger dumpster.
We would be the laughing stock.
Wow,
it would be a landfill.
It would be
fire.
Brilliant, bro.
By the way, this is the last thing I'll say on Stephon Gilmore. So Tony, I'll meet you in the middle. If the Panthers continue to downward spiral and it's looking terrible, maybe you consider it. Fine, especially if even during that time Stephon Gilmore plays well. Even still, I wouldn't send him to Tampa. But what I will say is this:
who gives a fuck?
Hold on. Let me finish. If we do end up making a push for the playoffs, I just want to give you guys a reminder of some of the people that we still have left on our schedule. Okay, Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins,
Calvin Ridley is a non-threat, man.
Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Emmanuel Sanders. We have a bunch of really good players that we still have to play on lined up across from our DBs this year. And if we're gonna be a contending football team, we need as much help in the backfield as possible. Because we need to be able to consistently play man coverage. And now that CJ was out and JC was out, our defense got away from that. And our pass rush suffered because of it.
I don't know how I could be the villain of my own podcast. I'm sorry. I don't know how I can be the villain of it. As somebody is this. All right, how about this? You want me to go more villain on y'all fool? No.
Do it.
Not really.
That's kind of mean.
Full Lex Luthor, go.
What happens?
You're all off the podcast.
Who do we yeah, I know. It's somebody else's podcast. Who we play? The Giants next, and then
Giants, then Atlanta.
Falcons.
The Falcons.
What happens if you win one or if you lose one of those games? Are you gonna come back here and be like, oh, you should have Stephon Gilmore for the playoffs? What do you think about this? Is that there's 2 more games. We thought that we should have beat Philadelphia. I thought we should have.
Yeah.
I thought we should have beat the Vikings or could have beat the Vikings. Like we're down. And when I looked at this season, I said we're about a 500 team. I don't know if it's going to be 9-8 or 8-9, but about that is what I thought I was hoping we would be. So if we go, and part of that plan though was winning the games that I thought we should win on the schedule, which at least one of those was Philly or the Vikings. And they weren't. We didn't. We lost 2 games that I kind of was checking off on the box that we could win. Now we're going into New York, who is terrible. You should beat them. But they're kind of a cat in a corner mentality right now. And I think the Falcons are similar. These guys are going to be scrapping to try to get a win. What happens? Do you assume the Panthers are going to win both of those games? A, and B, what happens if they don't?
I do. I believe that the Panthers have every bit of, or have a capability to win both of those games. I would say this. I mean, obviously, there's an opportunity for us to go 0-2 in those games. There's 2-0. There's 1-1 split. How does it look? Does it come out flat in the beginning? Does it look like we had an opportunity and maybe left a couple plays on the field? Does the opposition play out of their minds? I think it just depends on how it looks, really. But I guess the question, when you say, what happens? Are you meaning in terms of what would happen with the Stephon Gilmore opportunity that you
or just
presented?
period with this team? Like if we lose both of these games, or even one of them, actually just one of them. Like if we lose to the Giants, I'm going to start to think a little bit different. Like even someone who is glass half full myself, like I'm not trying to give up on anybody. I want this team to do well. I do. And I don't think it's over. But if we lose to the Giants, it's going to be hard to fend off the peasants with the pitchforks.
Well, and that's okay. I think the main thing is this. I guess this is a little bit of a deeper dive, right? So I talk about how David Tepper mentioned that when he hired Matt Rhule, that he was hiring his Chuck Noll, right? Because, he comes from Pittsburgh. So if you go back and look at Chuck Noll early in his, coaching tenure, I mean, he was below 500, I think the first 2 seasons, finally broke 500, and then went back below 500 only to win a Super Bowl some 5 years later, right? And so I know that it's a lot different. There's social media. There's that pressure. There's the, actual media pressure, there as well. But one thing I did like about Jerry Richardson when he was here was, you didn't really get a whole lot of takes from him. You didn't see a ton of pictures other than his stoic look at the, top of the, box that you would see all the time. But he gave Ron Rivera an opportunity to figure it out. We started off Cam's first season 6-10. The next year you saw improvement, 7-9 the next year.
Nah, we were 2 we only won 4 games in Cam's. It was not a lot.
No, we were 6-10. So it was
6-10 was his rookie season.
7-9, and then the next season they started off 1-3. And if you remember, the Riverboat Ron situation came because he started going for it a lot on 4th down. They end up stringing together a great season to go 12-4, only to drop back down to 7-8-1. Then finally came the 2015 season of 15-1. And so what I'm saying is that I think it depends on how it looks, because even though I personally have a stretch goal for this team of 12-5 record, right? And I only got 2 more games left, right? You know what I'm saying?
You better be winning.
We're almost there, man.
Right. No wonder you think they're going to win the next 2 games.
The only reason I have a stretch goal, but here's the reality of it. I don't care if I'm wrong. Like I'm cool with being wrong, because with new information, I don't necessarily waver on my takes, but with new information, I'm willing to adjust, right? So I still believe in this team enough to go 12-5, but at the same time, I understand this. Anything over 5 wins is a building season, right? Because we were below 500, we won 5 games. If they go 7-10, it was improvement.
I agree.
Regardless of how we look at it, regardless of how we want to look at it, it was improvement. So then what do? We build on top of that for next year. We have shown that we have a GM that hears the cries of the people. They fix the defense. Now they're going to focus on the offensive line. And then if it comes to the quarterback situation, look, if Sam Darnold looks absolutely horrible, I hate to break it to Panther fans, but here's the reality. We'll see Matt Rhule on his 3rd quarterback. That's just the reality of the situation. I would hope that quarterback would be, someone whose name rhymes with Rashawn Austin. But, the point is that, that's likely, not going to happen. But at the same time, it's like this. It's, you just want to see improvement in spite of all the situations. What we saw, like 2 teams, Dallas and us, Sunday. Dallas used to be the accident waiting to happen. But despite bad play calling from Mike McCarthy, despite turnovers, they still found a way to beat New England. They found a way to win. With us, we fought back. The defense was just gassed. I can't blame the defense for falling apart. You can, but it's hard for me to when they gave us so many opportunities. They gave us so many opportunities.
Problem.
Exactly. So with all those opportunities that we had, we still tied the game up at the, and Sam went on almost what would have been a game-winning drive, right? And who knows what would have happened if he would have gotten the ball back in his hands. I think we probably pulled that game out, so it is what it is. But I just like to see the fight. I'd like to see, more consistency. Obviously, I'm interested to see how this play calling changes, if it even does, which it's just a dumb quote from Matt Rhule, in my opinion. But right.
More execution, you know what I mean? Like it is a cacophony of errors. You're listening to John Fulmer, One Carolina. You can find him on Twitter at the One Carolina. And I hope you continue to hang out with us because we just hang out until we all go to sleep.
Yeah, I ain't
got
going
calls to get to
I'm
and
good,
stuff.
man.
But we got some fans in the chat room who want to know how to find your YouTube channel. So at least give them the direct info, and this makes it sound like we're a serious radio program because I'm plugging my people.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, man. So you can find me on YouTube at One Carolina. That's just One and Carolina. On Instagram at the One Carolina Show, and on Twitter at the One Carolina.
I tell you this is
Awesome.
that like the Panthers, I just feel like is that you guys are all picking on me every week. They love to pick on Tony. They love to
We
pick
do.
on their elder because
you
I'm the old man.
you pick
here.
on yourself.
Yeah, you give them all the fuel necessary to
Nope,
pick.
They love to pick on
all
me.
over you, man.
But I'm just trying to point out to you guys some things as someone who's been doing this for a minute, who has
You
a
really
little
have,
bit
yeah.
of the over perspective. Last year, how many Panther fans were on Twitter talking about James? We should have signed James Bradbury. We signed James Bradbury. Like he would have changed the whole thing. And guess what Giants fans are saying right now? Trade this motherfucker. They're about to pay him $20. Like he
Are
was
they
the
really
most
saying
famous. Yes, they loved him. Everybody loved him last year because he was producing. I'm just trying to tell y'all is that is a recency bias or a prisoner of the moment part that comes with being a fan. And for someone who was hesitant about Christian McCaffrey, everybody is like ready to give up on him. I'll tell you this, for his first 3 years, the story was he was durable as fuck. And now he's injury prone. The story is the story until it's not. And that's all I'm trying to say is that like the story about Sam Darnold is that he sucks until he isn't. The story about this team is that just last year, everybody said James Bradbury was the truth. And now everybody turned on him.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Don't tell Pat Coltrane. That's his favorite, man.
Loves James Bradbury. He probably hates James Bradbury.
He interviewed him. He got to do an interview with him, so that's
nice.
That's his best.
Now,
friend.
you know who my favorite then is Ben Wickery. I did an interview with him.
No. The scapegoat.
Totally. Ron Rivera threw his ass totally under the bus.
Was this before or after Julio's 225?
Oh, this is.
It was it was like a 325.
325.
It was a lot. But it was his first game back from a broken leg or some shit. And they were like, go defend Julio.
Right.
And it was like, them poor fella. And the other person that they threw under the bus, which I did not interview, was Corn Elder. But one ass play, like he had just come off an injury. And everybody's like, oh, go out there. Like scapegoat.
Can I ask you a question? Is Tony just bad luck for people he interviews?
No.
Who's got all right? Best good interview.
Name all the players that you've interviewed, and then you have to decide what happened after.
All right, you ready?
You interviewed them.
Ben Wickery is one of the early ones. Demir Bird.
Injured all the time.
Demir Bird, who had a sensational career.
Oh, he was a butt touchdown. That's it.
Oh, dude, he's still in the league, dude. That mug is still playing. Little Bird.
Okay, right now that's your claim.
The other players are players who played before. I've talked to Deshaun Foster. I've talked to Mike Minter. I've talked to. I got Will Witherspoon is another one. I got 4 or 5 of them back in the pocket. But yeah, I mean, I've tried to scoop on some of them special team players. They get caught up in here, and then I root for them. I didn't ever, players I wanted to interview more than anybody. Number 1 on that list, Cameron Artis-Payne. Favorite player of all time, bro.
Did he?
Give it to me.
I just would like to see the DMs that that Tony has tried to send to Cameron Artis-Payne. Like, I just want to see.
Dude, Mike Tolbert's mom fucking got mad at me because I talked shit about him one time. That's
Oh my
another
God.
good story. Maybe
Hey,
we
man,
should talk
mamas are
about
gonna-
players who have been blocked by. Derek Anderson is one of them. Fuck
Wow.
Derek Anderson. I hate that dude.
I
All right.
wonder what you even be
Yeah.
saying sometimes. Let's get into some of these cat calls, man. Let's see what
All
these
right.
people
Hold
got
on.
to
Let me
say.
pull him up. At least give me a 30-second moment.
While you doing the 30
29,
seconds,
no, I'm playing. Go ahead.
quick thing. While he's doing while you need the 30 seconds, really quick. So I know you guys didn't really talk about this, but I wanted to speak to this real quick about the whole fan situation.
Sure.
PSL owners selling
Ooh,
stuff like
I'd
that.
love to hear this.
Yes. So here's something we got to take into consideration, because I realize that fans are going to show up when the team is winning. Obviously, winning cures all. But another thing you got to remember is this: next to New York, second to New York, Charlotte is the banking capital of the U.S.
Yes.
56% of people in the U.S. don't leave their hometown. The others that do go to more opportunity. So we're getting people we got implants from all around the world moving into Charlotte, fans of everybody else. So it's not just the PSL situation. It's literally you have a hodgepodge of people in this one city, the the second, largest banking capital, that are coming in, and they're fans from everywhere. So I just think we had add a little perspective to that situation.
Yeah.
Well, I also believe that
man.
PSLs contribute to that.
I do too.
Right. Number one is that you have to have this money volume to even buy a season ticket. And then it becomes kind of an investment.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. The second thing is that my alma mater is East Carolina University, a cool college town. It's like one of the best college towns in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And with a sort of rich football history, but always the little guy trying to peck off the big guy. You know what I'm saying? And I have always said, man, we have great football fans, but I don't know if we have the legacy, the success, and the history to sustain long-term troubles or losing. And I think this is that it's not just that the Panthers aren't winning, it's that it hasn't been consistent winning, and B, it hasn't been since 2017. And now 2017, look, man, they're trying to fire Ed Ogeron at LSU, and he just won the damn national championship.
Oh, there's no trying. He's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Coach
You know what I'm
O.
saying? Like 2017 seems is a long time ago. 2015 is starting to be a long fucking. He does the best, man.
We're going to defense. We're going to go out there. We're going to play. We're on offense. We're going to run the football. We're going to pass the football and third down. We're going to be a really aggressive football full time.
It's so good.
That's that order.
It's so
Maybe we should hire him as our offensive coordinator.
I know. But what I'm just saying is this.
Throw the football to Christian McCaffrey. Second down. Throw the football to DJ Moore. To Robby Anderson over the top. Go Panthers.
It's so good. But I don't even know what to say because it's funny. At the same time, what I'm just saying is look, do we have the history and the legacy to sustain troubles? Right? The Panthers are new and a young team. How long can we flog the 2015 horse for? Is what I'm is that other teams who have won Super Bowl. So if you want our stadium to not be overrun by Eagle fans or whatever, we do need to get build a legacy, bro. And 2015 was a step, but right now we ain't taking the next step. That's what we need.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's go to the cat calls. The number's 252-228-5098. 5098. You can talk with Coach O about.
Please don't.
Oh, it's so funny, man. It's so
What are your
good.
thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So, how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey, Cody. Hey, and the rest of the crew. I think y'all are too hard on Sam Darnold. He's got wide receivers who are dropping passes. He's running for his life because you have an offensive line that can't protect them. And then one reason why the Panthers get out-coached in the third quarter because Joe Brady is having to deal with defenses making adjustments at halftime, and take until the fourth quarter to figure out how to counter it. So Sam Darnold, there's a lot on him. Sure, he has some growing pains, but it's not all his fault. I think that this guy can become a good, not a great, but a good quarterback. And also, Tony, at the game, which was the louder cheer? When the Vikings kicker missed the field goal to send that game into overtime, or in the fourth quarter, Robby Anderson catches a pass and there was a loud, sarcastic cheer from the crowd. Both of them were pretty loud in my home theater.
It's got to be that Robbie Anderson.
The Georgia Bulldogs here. They look pretty darn good. I think that they
it's
are,
my wife's team.
Like a pro team. Maybe the Georgia Bulldogs won the national title. Keep up the good work, and I gave a donation, so keep doing what you're doing, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your
Appreciate you,
support.
man.
Good call.
Thank you so much for your support. My whole wife's family, Georgia alumni, and my father-in-law and mother-in-law were in college at Georgia when Herschel Walker won the national championship there. So these people they're gushing right now about
man. And listen, they certainly beat my team up and down the field. Although
that was the first game of the season,
we didn't, in Panthers and Bank of America Stadium, man. We didn't let them get a touchdown, but I don't know, dude. Listen, and I can always be honest about this, man. Georgia football teams are cursed to choke, so I will never believe that the Atlanta Falcons or the Georgia Bulldogs are gonna win a championship until I see it happen, man. Every year, bro. You know how many times they have been contenders where they should have won, like that when Tua came into the national championship and beat them, man. It's like you always think that
Stafford
Georgia
was there. Was it Stafford? Who was the quarterback?
Jake Fromm. No, we're talking just a few years ago. We're talking just a few years ago.
Stafford was in Georgia, but it was a while back.
Yeah,
they were good then too.
But listen, Georgia.
My bad.
Yeah, pipe down, old timer. No, Georgia. No, listen, they're a good football team. I still kind of worry about their quarterback position.
They're number one in the goddamn nation.
Yeah, that changes though, man. Dude, it's college football.
They allow 9 points a game or something.
You can lose one game, and then it has everyone thinking differently about you. Listen, I do think they're deserving of being the best team in the country. I'll just say that their offense and their quarterback position kind of is shifty. I mean, they're going back and forth between JT Daniels and I forget the other guy's name. But yeah, they're a good football team, man. If they're able to pull it off, power to them, brother. But Alabama is still Alabama.
Go down these chats. Hit the super chat first and then go to KHY.
Karen Joy with the $2. She says, keep pounding C3. You know we appreciate it, Karen. But was there another one you wanted me to read in particular? I didn't see another.
KHY1.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. Listen to this. Read it. Just read it out loud.
You mad, Darnold? Y'all stress. I hope those PMP dudes was already doing draft analysis.
I think they're doing draft analysis. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. All of y'all shit on. First of all, we were mad at you last year for doing the tank shit. All you were doing was the tank. And everybody was
mad. Trevor Lawrence, man. I don't even care.
That's fine. No, they were mad at you. And now they mad at us for saying that the offensive line ain't good. And then last year, we'd be like, oh, Teddy ain't doing enough. And they'd be like, this is the worst fucking offensive line in the world. It's just excuse making, man. And I told them, you either got to try to believe that there's an opportunity for us to win, or you got to get on that tank joint, which does sound hypocritical now that I say trade Stephon Gilmore.
You're all over the
actually good. Stephon Gilmore. We don't even.
Put next call.
Right. Fuck him. Next call. No, for real. I don't even like him.
Man, if I ever hear any announcer call Joe Brady a fucking young offensive genius, I'm gonna fucking lose.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we heard that on the Sunday show.
Offensive line trash.
Well, I'm gonna play it again.
It's the end of the season. Get a number 1 draft pick. Get a left tackle. Get a center. Start this shit over, bro. I just want to fire Joe Brady. I'm not even surprised. I think it's good that we lost. We're just gonna go ahead and lose the rest of the games and start over, bro, and get a new fucking quarterback. Thanks.
How much is Joe Brady a problem, Cody?
He's not above rebuke, but he's not the main problem with the offense. And I said it earlier. We have Sam missing throws. You have an offensive line that, I mean, listen, we don't have to go into it. You all know what the offensive line is like. And then, our receivers have been dropping passes. I think Joe Brady just, as much as some might not like it, he is just low on the totem pole of people to blame for our offensive strategy.
I disagree.
Got to be higher.
Entirely.
Me too. Hit him, CK. Hit him, CK.
I disagree entirely. When you have an offense as inept as this, it doesn't just boil. These are professional football players, period. Regardless of that, they can, you can have this, we talked about this last time. We said, if a player misses a tackle, whose fault is it? We talked about it when Ron Rivera was here.
Greg says the
we
coach.
Said, you blame the
Greg
player.
does not say the coach.
You blame the player.
You
blame the player if it's one player missing tackles. If it's an entire team missing tackles, you blame the coaching staff. And that's what's happening with this offense. And Joe Brady has been vanilla, and he has not been an asset whatsoever. I think he is at the very top of the totem pole of who you need to blame for this offensive performance.
And I remember specifically arguing, Cody, you saying that missed tackles were coaching fault. That was coach's fault because it was Ron Rivera's fault and the defensive coordinator's fault. We were missing tackles. How is missed passes not the coach's fault?
Love it. All right, let's go to the next call. Don't even let him respond. I'm just gonna play it.
No, shut up, man. No. I'm gonna interrupt
you gotta listen to G. Cavazio.
No, I'm gonna interrupt the entire call until you pause it. I get to respond. Listen, man, I am not giving anyone a pass. Okay, what I'm saying is that if all of our team is doing terrible and they're not even operating the play,
you said he was low on the totem pole.
Yeah, I'm saying that if someone has to fall on the sword, it isn't going to be Joe Brady.
Higher or lower on the sword. Higher or lower on the totem pole. Sam Bradford or Joe Brady?
Sam Bradford.
Higher or lower on the totem pole.
Sam Darnold.
You mean you said Bradford?
Did I say Sam Bradford? Sam Darnold. Yeah. Higher or lower on the totem pole, offensive line or Sam Darnold?
Offensive line or Sam Darnold? Are we talking Joe Brady or Sam Darnold?
No, now I just gave you a different question. Sam
Offensive
Darnold
line, I would say offensive line.
All right, now
line is the number
higher
one
or lower on the totem pole. Sam Darnold, you already said, give me another one. So who's higher than Sam Joe Brady? Offensive line, obviously.
Yeah, so Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. What else? Who else?
Offensive line.
You said he was not on the higher end.
I'll say those two.
And did I say Sam Bradford?
Are by far
really?
more to blame. And then listen, I think our receivers, they had a bad game against Minnesota. But unless it continues to be a problem, then I'll say that Joe Brady is more to blame than our offensive exterior personnel. All of our receivers
way more than that. Period.
Dude, he is
DJ
the leader.
Moore, you guys were about to pay DJ Moore.
What is he supposed to do with this offensive line?
Where is the creativity?
Y'all tell me. Tell me, what is Joe Brady supposed to do? An offensive line.
But what is the Cody? What I'm asking is that fine? He's at third. He's third on the totem pole, but you said he's at the bottom of the totem pole. I'll tell you, he's at the bottom of the totem pole.
He's at the bottom of all the people that are taking.
Love him. Hassan Reddick is at the bottom.
This is an important description.
I don't even know what what our example is anymore.
You asked what he could have done with the offensive line. He hasn't done anything different than when he started this fucking season.
Period.
It's been terrible.
Is that on Matt Rhule or Joe Brady?
Joe Brady.
Is that on
Period.
Joe Brady or
Joe
Matt
Brady.
Rhule?
He is
Gotta be
calling the
Joe
plays.
Brady.
What I am talking about is we have established that our offensive line is a weakness.
He's
What
not
has Joe-
good, man.
What has Joe Brady done to address that fucking weakness?
From a personnel perspective or from
No,
a
from a
play-calling
coaching perspective or anything.
Yeah,
Like,
from
he hasn't
what he
done
has with
anything.
what he has.
quarterback
You know
runs,
what I'm saying? Like, you got to go to the party with what you
Guys,
got.
I'm
And
not
he-
saying that Joe Brady is above rebuke. I'm
He's-
saying
I
that
know
he
you're
is
not.
not. He is not
is the
more
reason.
responsible.
But you
no, he is
tried
not.
to
He
give
is not
him
more
that- you were
responsible
trying to give him a
for
shield,
our
bro.
offensive woes than our offensive line and our quarterback. That's
Giving him
that
a
is
shield.
blatant to me.
All right, let's go. All right, let's go to the call since you defended yourself. G. Cavassier is here, my man.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing? G. Cavassier. Hey man, my heart is still broken over that Vikings game. Oh man, I'm still pissed off that we lost that game. Just like last year, we should have won that game. But oh well, it's on to the next opponent, which is the New York Giants. And I'm gonna say this here right now: if we lose to the New York Giants, something is gonna happen. Somebody's gonna get fired or something. I just got that feeling. And honestly, I believe before week 9 gets here, something is going to damn change. Because Cody, I was listening to the your last little podcast that you did or whatever with everybody up there, the post game or
Friday
whatever.
free for all.
Man, I agree with
Or
you
the
100%, man. I mean, that was a good podcast. Something has to change.
Appreciate
like
you,
the
man.
one gentleman said, David Tepper will make some shit happen. This dude wants to damn win, man. I know he wants to. He built that nice ass building, a training facility down in Rock Hill, South Carolina. This dude can make something happen. He's the richest owner in the NFL. He can make something happen. I'm telling y'all, I still see us making the playoffs. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I think that we can. I really do. Offensive line needs to be fixed. And Robby Anderson, it hurts for me to say this shit, but hey, if we have to let him go next year, let it be done, man. I like that dude, but he is not doing nothing really this year. And he had caught, 2 touchdowns or whatever so far this year. He's too explosive, man. He's too explosive. And Brady, I don't know. That college offense is not really looking good in the NFL, man. So give me your thoughts on that. Do you feel like something's going to change? Because I do. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. I mean, we hope a lot of things change about our offense, man. I said on the Sunday show, I think that David Tepper needs to start getting a little bit of the blame thrown his way for how he has chosen to undergo this rebuild. He's a billionaire. He didn't want to come in here and wait 5, 6, or however long to rebuild the football team, even though it doesn't have to take that long. But I think David Tepper waited too late to make every important decision that he had to make. I think he was far too late in firing Ron Rivera. He was far too late in firing Marty Herney. Then he reversed the process and hired his head coach before hiring the new general manager, which it tends to be vice versa, the way you do that. Then on top of that, the Panthers haven't had a franchise left tackle, and now this is more Fitterer. But I in a way, I view David Tepper, Matt Rhule, and Scott Fitterer as a trio, because I genuinely do feel like these 3 guys are putting their heads together when it comes to all decisions involving the Carolina Panthers. So then now you're kicking the can down the road on quarterback again. We're still wondering who made the decision about Teddy Bridgewater and who paid him that contract. We're wondering about Sam Darnold and whose decision it was to bring Sam Darnold from New York here to Carolina. And now if Sam Darnold isn't the quarterback, well, man, look, the one common denominator in the past 3 years where the Panthers go from boom to bust real quick at the start of the season, David Tepper is the one through line in all of that. So I think we would be remiss to not start to criticize some of the decisions that David Tepper has been making. And I think that's fair at this point.
I kind of have to counter that point a little bit there because you're saying that David Tepper waited too long to get rid of Ron Rivera and everything else that came in. How much did he spend on this team? It was like $6.2 billion.
No, it's $2.5 billion.
Okay, it was a lot of money. If you bought a $2.5 billion house, would you go in and immediately rip everything out of it, or would you go in there and see what feels comfortable and see what works? I'm telling you, dude. Are you seriously going to
wallpaper?
It's not the same as wallpaper. It's an analogy. I'm just saying, would you really go in there without knowing anything about this franchise and this team if you spent that much money on it and just rip everything out?
And the other part is again, this is one of the defenses we had. We're glad that Ron Rivera's gone. I think that this is not a defense.
And he's sucking in Washington, by the way.
Yeah, but here's the problem that with blaming David Tepper here is David Tepper inherited this team and then immediately got an injured quarterback that was your star quarterback.
Right,
you're not able to do much with that. You then have a retiring Luke Kuechly. You have a Kuechly. Sorry,
Kuechly. That's your tongue twister, man. Kuechly.
Yeah, it always does. Hey, listen, it's like literally 5 years of my life, and it's just going to be hard to turn that around. Anyway. You have all of these different changes that have taken place while he was while he took over ownership. I mean, you literally he didn't buy the team in rebuild. Let's be honest. He bought the team after a really, I wouldn't say a great season, but we had just gotten out of the playoffs in 2017, and then he bought it after the 2018 season, right? Or is it after the 2017 season?
2017.
So he had just bought a playoff team.
We were bad. He got the 2018 season is when it went into effect.
Yeah, so he got our 2017 season, which was a playoff team. So he bought the team, and it was good. And so why would he immediately just go and fire within 2 seasons?
I don't think they were good when he bought them, though.
What do you mean?
Removed from a 15-1 season.
I think it was after.
And they had
the
just
2017 season. I don't know. We'll have to go look at the timeline.
The 2017 season, we had a very good year.
11-5.
Cam comes out and gets hurt. We were at the game that Cam got hurt at. You and I, CK, were there together.
Pittsburgh. We got smoked.
No, no. That's where he got hurt. The shoulder hurt.
Mm-hmm.
We were at the game that ended his career, which was Tampa at home. We were at your house, Cody.
I
you
can't
remember that?
Honestly,
was
it all blurs together.
The second game of the season, whatever.
I remember you coming for the round for when
the beginning of the year. We saw Cam. We were at Cam's last game ever that he played in Bank of America. CK and I were there. Remember with the game where they handed it off to Christian McCaffrey or something? They got stopped. We were all there. We did the post game at your house, homie.
That wasn't Cam's last game, though. You're confused.
You might be thinking about the last game. You might be thinking about the Ring of Honor. You might be thinking about where he was there for the Ring of Honor.
Cam's last game was Tampa Bay on Monday Night Football, wasn't it?
It was not Monday night, and we were at your house.
I don't remember.
I mean,
I don't think you remember this.
Like, I'm not the only person that remembers this. We were at you. CK, you and I went to the game together.
Yeah, but I don't think that was
the post game. Remember, we were all cuddled up.
Whatever. At my, I remember you being at my house. I'm telling you,
yes,
we were there
for the Cam's last home game where it was the
and it was a Thursday night game. It was Thursday night football. Cam's last game
of the season
with the Panthers
or whatever. And then he did not rush it, or he rushed it on the last, and then we should have had it.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. It was against Tampa.
Panthers at Buzz.
Yeah, they had the storm.
We agree. One time in our life, he remembers it. We were there. Anyway,
where they had the thunderstorm.
It should be the fucking four Stooges: David Tepper, Sam Darnold, Joe Brady, and fucking Matt Rhule, man.
Wow.
I'm telling you, that was where David Tepper made the biggest mistake.
I played it. Hold on.
And Cam Newton. That's where all this fucking shit went wrong.
Stop. My fault. He called in twice. This is what I have. I try to get the recent calls in a little bit quick sometimes, and I got it. This is G Baby, also known as
G Baby. You're also known as T Baby.
Yeah, you're T Baby.
This is my brother.
It's G Baby. I'm calling him again because I'm so fucking.
Again? How many times did you call in, G Baby?
Why the fuck would we trade Dante Jackson? I don't know. I don't know if it's the nuanced fucking Panther fans, the motherfuckers that just don't give a fuck. But I am so fucking sick of us building niggas up that were actually
G Baby
drafted with the
is
motherfucking
black. I
Carolina
know he don't
Panthers
sound like
and
it,
letting them go
but he
to another
is.
fucking team.
He can
Or
say it.
trading him to a
You
motherfucking
shouldn't
team.
say
Like,
it.
what's the point of training this guy?
Everybody always questions him too.
For 4 years.
I know.
And
it
then
is.
trading him.
I had to
what?
research it at one point.
I like the 10-year players, the 12-year players.
Wait.
That's how you build fucking culture, man. You don't fucking trade away these young ass fucking players. Dante Jackson's a top 5 corner in the NFL.
Oh, shush, G Baby.
That
Too much.
motherfucker is playing his ass off. Same with DJ Moore. And when I hear some people say, "Oh, maybe we should trade DJ Moore," what the fuck are you guys talking about, man? Why the fuck would we trade DJ
Fire
Moore?
sale, baby.
He was drafted by the motherfucking Carolina Panthers. So we did all this work to build him up to trade him to another team. That don't make sense to me, man. I want DJ Moore in here for 12 plus years. Like, in my opinion, that's an Asian 89 reincarnated, man. Why the fuck would we trade him? Hassan Riddick, I would love to fucking sign Hassan Riddick, but he wasn't drafted by the Carolina Panthers, man. But don't get me wrong, I would love to sign him. But he wasn't drafted with the squad. So
What
if you
does
guys
that
don't,
got to do with it, G Baby?
That's how I fucking see it, man. But I would love to keep him.
Neither was Sam Mills.
Such passion.
Or neither was Greg Olson.
This week. I would love to see if we can play. Like, why is... Okay, I'm going to let Snow... Coach Snow off the fucking... I'm going to let him go a little bit because we didn't have C.J. Henderson, but when all our starters come back, Sam Franklin and motherfucker Sean Chandler better not be in the goddamn game. Those are special team players, man. Those are special team players. I don't know how many times I got to say this shit. But Dante Jackson, what the fuck? We need to give that motherfucker the bag, man. Playing his ass off. That's just how I feel about it, boys. That's just how I feel about it. I'm gonna continue to call in tonight, man.
Yeah, but he already. I'm skipping two of his calls that were before, by the way.
Liar, bro. I told you that dude's a fucking con artist, man. He don't have a problem lying to our fucking faces, man. I'm trying to tell you guys, man. That dude's a fucking pathological fucking liar, man.
Who is he even talking
never
about?
got the goddamn job. Eric Ben.
I think he's talking about Matt Rhule.
Hey, talking about Matt Rhule.
Hey,
all
I
right,
can say.
so how about this? Are we giving Matt Rhule? All right. So I always say this: G Baby is one of our most passionate callers and fans all the time.
Yeah.
And people make fun of me because they call me T Baby and his cousin. But at the same time, I always say there's some sort of wisdom in his passion that you can find.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, my question, or at the end of that call, not the end of the day, but are we giving Matt Rhule a pass?
Hey,
because I don't know what I think about Matt Rhule yet. You know, it's like, is he this great motivator? I don't really know. It's like right now he hasn't been awful. He hasn't been good. He hasn't been good. He hasn't been awful. He's kind of been bad. Like, when are we giving Matt Rhule a pass? I guess that's G Baby's wisdom into
I think for at least this year, certainly. Next year, possibly.
But right now, what do you think right now is this?
Right now, yeah, of course.
I truly believe that he's going to be the coach next year, and he should be. Like, I think it would be foolish to fire him right now.
I'll go out on the ledge and say that Matt Rhule's going to be the coach of the future. Like, I'm not afraid to say that. Yeah, I'm not afraid to. I'm not afraid of that.
The timeout stuff and then this and that. I mean, it's not been clean this year. I thought last year he did better than I expected him to do. I would say this year nothing has looked good, and he's been a part of that not looking good.
Mm-hmm. Y'all know how I felt about Matt Rhule the entire time.
Now you're a defender.
No, he's been reeling me in, but there is a lot of problems, man. A whole lot of problems, and it does still boil down to this year, how this year turns out. Like, it's kind of a make or break year for him. You know, I've been putting up with him, and I've said since the beginning, just a lot of coach talk talks like a preacher. And now everybody else is starting to say that's what it sounds like. Yeah, man, that's what he's been saying the whole time.
That's what all coaches do, though.
So,
You
by
get
the way,
Cody, did Frankie Louvu save Chase Blackburn's job? That's what I wanted to ask you.
I mean, that'd be a better question for CK. CK found out that Frankie Louvu. Why don't you hit us with that stat, CK, about Frankie Louvu?
So if I told you at the beginning of the season that Frankie Louvu was the first Carolina Panther to hit 90 on the PFF boards, would you guys have been like, no way he's going to be the first one? You have Brian Burns, Reddick, CMC even was healthy for 3 games. He didn't hit that. You have DJ Moore, Robby Anderson. You have all of these pieces, but it's Frankie Louvu who gets the first nod for over 90 on PFF grading for the Week 6 performance he had against the Vikings. I mean, it's just hard to argue with that dude coming out and just performing as well as he did amidst a very bad defensive outputting the entire day.
I wouldn't say that I don't. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Like it wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't say that I would believe it, but it wouldn't surprise me because I mean that this kind of stuff happens all the time. Like undrafted players brought in from other places. Better scheme fit, better culture. They feel wanted in different places. I just can't. I guess for the life of me, I can't understand what Frankie Louvu either wasn't doing in New York or what they couldn't evaluate in him that we would end up with him. For I guess virtually nothing, right?
Well, I think that when you make a special teams block, when you block a field goal, that's got to be in the algorithm. Like all of a sudden you had a great day, so he played on defense and made a game-changing play on special teams. Mm-hmm. So PFF will certainly rate him like he's awesome that day. Just like imagine, think about this is like you could have asked that question about Jeremy Chin when he had the 2 touchdowns against what was it, Minnesota or
Minnesota last year? Minnesota.
Yeah, man. It's like you could maybe ask that, like, would you believe that Jeremy Chin is the night? We probably would have said no. I heard, and it's just awesome that they had a good game in a game where no one else on the team really did have a good game.
Can I ask you a question really quick? So,
I
heard Matt Rhule say that Tommy Tremble was this year's Jeremy Chin. Like, why is he only being utilized with shuffle plays and,
Don't you think he's been utilized a lot, though? I think he's actually gotten a lot of action in a way. Like, he's made some game-changing plays.
He has, but, I mean more in the
like the fullback, a little bit more. That would be the thing is where has he been at fullback? But I haven't seen a fullback on this team all year. Have you?
No, yeah. Well, Ricci is but he's not.
But like in the game,
no. They'll have him in there for blocking schemes.
Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah, but not
they've
much.
given him the ball, but like for the most part, he has just been in there as a blocker, as a fullback.
All right. I believe you guys that it's happened, but I don't believe it's like been a signature.
It's not a staple of our offense,
right?
But usually fullbacks aren't. No.
Yeah, the fullback position is rare in the NFL today.
Hey, by the way, Tony, I did some digging while we were just sitting here talking. I looked up the post game for that Thursday night game, and me and you was at our own cribs, bro.
How young were we? Where was this at?
Hey, look, you want?
What was that? The Cam got hurt forever.
You want to hear like 5 seconds of it?
Yeah,
ever seen Cameron Newton ever play?
Yeah, period. Right back to his childhood.
And listen, I'll say this: Ron Rivera and Norv Turner need to be fired. Fucking tomorrow.
No. All right.
There is no difference between Norv Turner and Mike Sula.
Oh no.
Oh, I had the bars even back then, y'all. What's up? No difference between Norv Turner.
What was the game we were at, CK? Then
we went. We went to.
I've done like a post game.
We went to a few. Yeah, we went to a few. Like the most notable is the Jacksonville one, because that was the Ring of Honor game where Christian McCaffrey Had that really nice. I think he had to flip into the end zone on that game.
Yeah, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, and that was Cam Newton was there in the stands, like in the box.
He was in the stands.
Yeah, like he was in the.
What was the last game that we were there that he played together? We've been to only one together then.
No,
Did y'all go to Seattle?
No, I don't think we went to the game. We only went to the game one season, and every single time we went, it was Kyle Allen as quarterback.
I think we watched so much Panthers, we all have CTE. Like we all just have traumatic.
How about
brain
that?
injuries
Is
and
that
we can't
look at how
remember shit.
young we look there? That's what I love about it. All right, let's go to the next one, and it's probably G baby.
It should be the fucking four Stooges.
We already heard that
Sam
one.
Darnold, Joe Brady, and fucking Matt Rhule, man.
We heard that one.
We heard.
No, I didn't play it all. I
That,
stopped it.
that was where David Tepper made the biggest mistake, signing Matt Rhule and fucking Joe Brady when he should have signed EB and Cam Newton. That's where all this fucking
Eric
shit went
Bannon,
wrong.
man.
I mean, I'll be goddamned if Cam Newton ever let this shit happen. Come on, boys. If we had Cam Newton, do you really think Cam fucking Newton would let this shit happen?
All right.
After
G
a
baby, we
3-0?
gotta go on. No more Cam Newton talk.
Hey
No,
guys,
sir.
it's Joey.
What's up, Joey?
And, I was thinking at work while I was slinging packages of screws and bolts into boxes.
I thought he was going to say
And
something else.
I know.
the podcast this night. And what do I really got to say? And the thing I really got to say is that, like, I think a lot of people forget that we're in a rebuild. You know why I say that? Because we were pretty damn good for a rebuilding team. I mean, most rebuilding teams, like, look at the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had the number one pick, and they got, like, I don't know, the best thing since dicks were invented.
What does
Or
that
discovered.
mean? What does that
That's what they
mean?
got. That's how this guy was being talked up. And I'm not saying he's not that.
I think he's taking after you.
Jaguars still have work to do. A lot of work.
Me? What do I gotta do with
You're
it?
always talking about dicks.
Oh
Gotta
my
cut that sound
God.
clip out here. Yeah.
I know the best thing since dicks have been good. All right, Arrow, let's go to his round round. We gotta give him his round round.
Anyway, guys.
I sped it up. Good God, Joey. All right.
Joey's
let's
the
go to
man.
this next one.
Panthers are just missing their main primary weapon, which is, of course, McCaffrey. The last three losses have been heartbreaking, but I believe with a few tweaks here and there and the slump killer, which would be the Giants, everything should go back on track.
All right. This is the call I want to talk about. John, what do you see the season looking like from here on out? Is we're 3-3. We started out 3-0. Last week, I go on this radio show every week and we make our picks. And when we were 3-2, now we're 3. Yeah, I said it felt like we were 2-3. Even though we've won 3 games. Where do you see the season going? I mean, like, yes, we've got 2 winnable games ahead of us. At least that's what we think with the Giants and the Falcons. But we also thought that the Eagles and the Vikings were, opportunities for us to win. The schedule is going to get tougher, starting with New England, and then you got to play Tampa Bay twice in the back end. You got to play Buffalo. Where do you realistically see this team going in the future?
I think it can be a little tough if we don't make any philosophy changes. And here's what I mean. I don't think that you reinvent the wheel, but we talk about Matt Rhule and his timeout situations.
It's been bad.
It has been very
bad. And it wasn't just this past game. We've had every week this year.
You know what I think that comes from? Again, it's one of those situations where you over prepare. Like when he was trying to throw Morgan Fox into the game, that time, and there was a 12-minute.
Where has he been at, by the way?
Good question. But, I feel like when you go into, like, the coaches have a game plan, right? And they have a couple of contingencies. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, a coach has a game plan and they have maybe 2 or 3 contingencies that they can use, executive orders, if you will, from a presidential perspective, that they can use at any given time during the game flow, right? But for the most part, just like every coach says, you win the game during practice during the week. Well, if we practiced all this stuff during the week, but then you add in another 10 contingencies, that's when you get these timeout issues. That's when you get the personnel issues and things like that. So I think that they've got to stick with their philosophy. And I'll tell you this is one of those philosophies that I'll speak of. I think the philosophy has to be, we're willing to do whatever we have to do to be successful. What if the success looks like this? What if they give someone that most of us would say has been lackluster, to say the least, Terrace Marshall Jr., an opportunity to do what he did in college, which is not only play the slot, which is where they're mostly lining him up, but also outside. Give him a chance at some 50-50 balls. But guess what that would require? You would have to move Robby Anderson to the bench sometimes and also outside of position. And to me, I feel like that's something I'm willing to try. I mean, what else do you have to lose? I got to see what I got on the roster.
Sadly, he has a concussion, so that might take a little bit.
Right. But I'm saying once you get that guy healthy, you got to, I mean, what about Shy?
Yeah, we thought he was going to be a bigger part of the offense earlier. But everybody thought that Terrace Marshall Jr. was going to be a bigger part, not like a world beater. In fact, I think I got some bets with these people on this podcast if he was going to get 600 yards. And I said he would not. So some people on this podcast, you're going to have to go find that tape, Cody, and send me some loot somehow.
You got to give him a shot, though. You just got to give him a chance to play more than just, like a slot position. Like, he's got to have some time to, play outside. And like I said, I mean, he's a big body receiver. We saw him a couple of times in camp, against the Colts, go up, and high point, a ball to, bring it down, and, the crowd went crazy. Give him that chance in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, give him some, throw it up and just, give him a 50-50 shot just to see what you do have. Maybe they're doing that in practice and we just don't see it translate to the game. But I think that, if those things, and I'm not saying that that's what has to happen for this to change. I mean, a couple of different plays and we're, 5-2 right now. You know what I'm saying? Or excuse me, not 5-2, but potentially 5-2, with a couple of things going our way. But, 4-2, my apologies. But I think that this season has an opportunity to at least show us what this coaching staff will look like moving forward. I think Phil Snow is a staple. I think Matt Rhule is potentially a staple. I think Joe Brady is obviously the odd man out in this situation, but I just hope it doesn't fall apart and look completely, disgusting the whole time. And I think we, maybe we end up 500. And if, that's
still
a success.
Early.
It is still very early. Still very early.
Everybody wanted to fire Ron Rivera in his second year. And then the third year, so Ron Rivera takes over Cam's rookie year, which was 2011. We win what did we win? 4 games or something like that.
6.
And then 6. It was even better than I remember. In 2012, everybody said Sean McDermott sucked in 2012. We had this terrible defense. Right, we go and get Luke Kuechly, and then we drafted 2 defensive tackles the next year in K1 Short and Star Latule, and our 2013 defense got nasty. Right, so I mean, we all wanted to fire Ron Rivera at that point in 2012. Not we all, but like, I mean, you got to be a little careful to not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Thank you, and I just want to say this one more quick thing, and then I'm gonna shut up, but. We got to be careful. Like, I heard earlier from a call, like, if we lose this game, then David Tepper's really got to come down on, these guys. And, you hear a lot about the Matt Rhule being fired, man. Unless, let me tell you, if David Tepper makes the decision to fire Matt Rhule, even after this season, if he loses every game, then what he's telling you is that winning or the attempt to win is more important than culture building and giving the opportunity to. Because most franchises that we see do that, Cleveland, Detroit, the most recent that we saw do it, but now they're sticking with their guy, was Arizona. They fired Steve Wilkes after 1 year and drafted a new quarterback after drafting Josh Rosen. But they gave that guy 3 years, and look where they sit right now, 6-0.
But we have one question about Tepper on this, is that everybody as a Panther fan was excited when David Tepper came in because he finally got rid of the shields on the middle fields, and he put the Panther logo, and he seemed like this hip dude that was trying to get things done, right? But when it comes to David Tepper and this team, is he truly I guess what I think is this is I feel like he's kind of a Wall Street guy which wants immediate results. Like I feel like he's a day trader a little bit. And what I'm worried about is that he is decisive. He went out there and paid Matt Rhule. He did all of this and he says the right things. He did the right things. Right? Like he paid Matt Rhule, he gave him 8 years. But Cody, how many times have we said this? What did I come on here and say all the time? He should have hired the GM first and then the head coach, and he didn't do it. It almost seems like this is that look, he got rid of Teddy Bridgewater after a year. It's just he's very knee-jerkish to me, and I'm worried that he's a little bit of a chart trader. Like if you trade stocks, you look at the charts. Like you're a guy that's just trying to look at the dips and then this and that rather than the long-term dude.
But I
feel like there's an impatience to David Tepper right now.
Right. Yeah.
Probably unnecessary.
Also, remember that another former co-owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers did that same thing. And he's the owner of the Cleveland Browns, who John mentioned. Jimmy Haslam, and they did that same thing where they would always bring in a new coach. They were always bringing in a new quarterback because they came from a football town and a football team where winning was already entrenched in that culture by the time they had become owners. So they were kind of spoiled and not having to know what it takes to take a team from no Super Bowls, from
I don't think David Tepper is a long-term visionary genius, man. And I'm not saying he's not, but you got like everybody coordinated him just because he made $1 billion on buying Bank of America when the stock market was in the shitter.
Well, see, this is where I'll say it's different, Tony. Being what David Tepper was, which was a hedge fund manager versus an analyst, are two different plays. So let me give you an example, right? You talked about day trading and looking at, the stock sheet. An analyst is going to play the daily market. The difference between him and a hedge fund manager is a guy that has to go out and get more new investors, which you have to show, hey, I've got these people growing here. Why don't I bring you on? That takes patience. In order for him to get to the point where he got to, he had to add more investors. He's
got to have a balance of short-term, long-term.
Absolutely. And that's why I think it's a little different with him because he, like Cody said, the Cleveland Browns, they got a hardcore fan base. We're not a storied franchise. We only been around for 20 some odd years. You know what I'm saying? So
but they ain't ever won shit either. They're just old. They're just
but they have
old.
history.
Yes, they do have
they
a
have real history.
And that's a testament to them. But they haven't ever even won shit, bro.
Well, they did win.
Somebody looked that up. Have they ever won a Super Bowl?
They won a championship before the NFL merger.
Yeah. Oh, that doesn't count.
I kind of think the same thing. It's like it is before.
All right, let's go to the next call.
I mean, it counts, but
it's a good point, man. I'm very interested to see if David Tepper's success with Bank of America and the recession of 2008 translates into the success of Carolina, because that's kind of what we're thinking about. It's like we are trying to think of him as a chess player, somebody playing the marketplace, and maybe it works. I hope it does, but I feel like he is a little bit more recent returns than people want to think.
The thing he's got to be careful with, though, real quick, is if you do fire Matt Rhule or something like that, you got to think about how that plays with Phil Snow. How does that play with Phil Snow?
Yeah. I don't think firing Matt Rhule is the answer and all, but I just feel like he is. I don't know how to say it. I think that Matt Rhule definitely has next year.
Yeah,
I totally think that.
Yeah. If Matt Rhule gets fired,
just be foolish.
Yeah,
I think it'd be foolish to not give him 3 years.
If Matt Rhule gets fired, Snow is out the door with him.
And is Snow the best coach on this staff? Who got it? All the people that in the chat that tell me I'm stupid. Boom. First on the watch right there. Next call.
Hey guys, Joey again. I just wanted to help you since I said my memory's awesome in the last call. That Pepper bought the team after the 2017 season, guys, because there was this thing after the 2018 game when we started 6-2. I remember that. I remember we started 6-2 in 2018. I remember, what was it? Was it the Ravens we beat? I was at one of those games. I was at that Bucks game in 2018. It was in November. And I went with my dad to that one. Then I remember watching that god-awful Steelers game while I was in school at GMS. And that's like, you stay there. So, like, yeah, like my house parents, like they would let me watch the damn football game because they knew I was a nut. If I didn't watch my Panthers, I'd lose my shit the next morning. So that was that. That was not Cam Newton's last game, but it was the relevant Carolina Panthers under Cam Newton's last game. And then 2019 Rams week 1. I don't even like bringing up this week 2 game. It was absolutely god awful. The worst thing I've ever had the displeasure of.
Not seen.
Hey,
Yeah.
I remember there was
It is the truth.
That like knocked our TV out or something, and my parents didn't even watch it. I was like, "Thank you, Lord." It was bad. Then the Ring of Honor game, that was the game. She was kind of hot too. That girl that took me on the field, took me and my mom on the field. I bit down and touched the grass and all kinds of shit. So yeah, that's your recap. Anyway, guys. Wow.
Good recap, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the mind like a cat, man, not just a growl. He was able to remember these things. So many questions. I really need to meet Joey one day and really talk with him and get his backstory. Just us talking and figuring out
his backstory, man. I want to hear about. I actually want to learn the most about where he works at.
No,
like the thing that I want to know more than anything, because he's like, remember it was like he was like sewing these trinkets or something on, like not like it was like, I mean, like he was sewing for like parachutes or something. It was crazy. He works at this factory doing something. I'd love to hear it. I mean, he can't see what he's doing.
I'm sure he doesn't even need to, though. He probably does his job better than everybody
He
else.
doesn't need to. He can't.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. He doesn't
can't.
need to, man. He's got that spidey sense. He's got that Panther
We've gone
sense.
through about every topic you could think of talking about. So we've got a few to end up on.
Was that the last call?
What's this? That is the last call.
All right, cool.
Picks. We gotta pick the game. And I said I was keeping up with it. I think we were tied last.
Well, we didn't do it.
Anybody?
We didn't do it last
Tuesday.
We didn't do it last Tuesday. But I will say on the Friday free for all, I was the only one.
I picked the Vikings as well.
I was the only one on the Friday free for all to pick the Minnesota Vikings to beat the Panthers, man. So
I got tape too. Is anybody here picking the Giants? We got to go on the road.
What's the score?
It's a spread. It's a trap game, homie.
Oh, the spread between the Giants and the
Panthers.
Panthers.
Trap game for the Panthers.
It's 3 or 3.5. Hang on, I'll check.
3.5.
Hang on.
They're so they think that they're a home favorite. 3.5 points.
They should. They're a home favorite. No, we're a favorite. We got to be a road favorite.
It's the Panthers minus 2.5.
Yeah, so we're a favorite. So it's close to a pick 'em if you
That's
used
a
to
pick 'em.
call
Pretty
the
It's a
old-
pick 'em.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
a
they
pick
would
'em.
say in the old school. They also say that the road, the home field advantage doesn't matter anymore. And it certainly doesn't matter in New York, who has not won a game all year. I also read an article about the Giants fans. You want to say they said this is that the Giants fan, the first line of the article I read today is the fans who decide to show up, boo. That was the thing. I mean, we're upset. Think about how pessimistic we are at 3-3. These mugs ain't won a game since like
it's been a
Daniel
The
Jones
New Orleans
was
Saints
drafted.
And they beat the New Orleans Saints. You mean?
Did they? Oh yeah, and
I was
that's
gonna say, I
right.
think
That
they did have
was-
one
they
win.
did
Yeah, I
do
can't
that.
remember
And
what it was.
Gettleman, we get a little Gettleman revenge match. We get the James Bradbury. Yeah, that's fun.
Graham
He'll probably
Gano.
have like 7 picks.
Graham Gano.
Fucking Graham Gano.
Isn't Butler? Isn't Butler on the Giants
Should have
now?
never let him go.
Nah,
It's looking
Butler
like
is Vernon Butler's on the Bills.
Bills?
I think. Yeah.
Didn't
All right.
Gettleman pick up somebody else that was a big bruiser
Oh,
that we
so hey, before we pick this game, I think it's important to note that Giants have placed left tackle Andrew Thomas on IR. Apparently, they're
And
pretty.
they drafted. Did he draft him last year or this year?
2 years ago, that was my number 1 rated offensive tackle
Yeah,
in
you
that
liked him a lot.
class.
Mm.
Yeah, over Jedrick Wills. I had him above everybody, and he has been playing good. But apparently, right now,
Was
the
he
Giants,
playing left tackle? Because I thought the
Yeah,
other
left tackle.
guy's Soldier was playing left. No. Nate
and by the way,
Soldier?
just in perusing the Giants subreddit, there's all these discussions about Giants are historically bad right now. So
They hate Dave Gettleman, bro.
They hate Dave Gettleman. They don't like their coach a lot. They don't like Daniel Jones. How about this? We're saying Christian McCaffrey's injury prone. If Christian McCaffrey's injury prone, then so the hell is Saquon Barkley. Dude.
Isn't this the greatest staring contest from injured? I told you, I was so surprised I didn't get a single like or retweet, and I thought it was a great tweet today. Is that it was something to the fact of the best staring contest, or for people? No, get ready for the tweets from people who say drafting the running back in the top 10 is a bad idea, as CMC and
Saquon watch from the sideline.
Stare at each other from the sideline.
I think the most important narrative of this game has to be about how we stole Matt Rhule from the New York Giants.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good
Great
one.
point.
That's a good
Beat
one.
us, though. Ooh.
That's a good one. Hey, by the way, again, their starting offensive linemen, the guys that will have to protect Daniel Jones is Nate Solder, Matt Sakura, Billy Price, Will Hernandez, and Matt Pert. So if none of those names
Wasn't Billy Price
inspire
a
any
high
confidence-
there's wasn't Billy Price kind of a high prospect?
Yeah, he was a
I feel
second
like
round
I've heard
pick. I
his
think he
name
was
before.
I think it was a center from Ohio
If
State.
we don't beat the fucking Giants, bro,
That's what I'm saying, dude.
it's gonna
Like
be
this
bad.
is look.
And
This
they
is
don't
got-
even got Saquon. They don't got Saquon. Galladay's probably never plays. That
Ingram
motherfucker's
never plays
always
anymore.
hurt.
Tony, do you
Yeah.
remember my theory on how I say week 6? That's
know.
It's
I'm already
after that.
worried.
It's after that. That's when you separate the men from the boys. And I'm telling you,
Do you think there's a bigger chance of us losing to the Giants or the Falcons? And I would say it's the Falcons. Like, I mean, if we
Falcons,
lose
yeah.
to the Giants, I'm gonna be fucking nervous.
So it's Atlanta because Calvin Ridley is a really good player. They finally started to use Kyle Pitts in a way that is,
Oh, yeah. He blew up.
using and listen, man, say what you want about the old timer, man. But Matt Ryan, he can still chuck the ball if he's got a little bit of time to throw. Hey, I don't like the asshole either, man. I'm
should've
not
drafted a
defending him.
quarterback.
I hate,
That's
dude.
not the question I asked. The question I ask is like, if you
I'd
were
prefer
gonna
to lose to the Giants than the Falcons. How about that?
Yeah.
If we lose to the Giants, we're losing to the Falcons. I mean,
Oh man,
man,
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
If we lose to the Giants, it's about to tumble out of control.
Start trading everyone.
All right.
We're all picking the
So
Panthers.
is anybody picking the Giants here on this show?
No.
No.
No, I'll go
Fine.
Panthers. I still think
Nobody
that it's going to
can.
be a matchup.
It's gonna be
I'll
legit.
say 27-24 Carolina.
I don't know what it's going to be. I hope it's going to be anything. I mean,
How pissed are you gonna be if it's a game winner by Graham Gano?
oh, my
dude,
I'm going to let y'all do the show.
A career, like a career long.
Dude. I fucking hate Graham Gano.
A
If he-
67
You know
yard
what? I'm
field
picking
goal.
the Giants. I'm picking the Giants right now because of that.
Get
Oh
out.
my god! All right, you want to ice some fools up?
Are we picking the other games?
John, you familiar with our last segment? Is a homage to. Oh no, we got to pick the NFC.
I'm very familiar
That's
with
what I was
that.
saying. Are you picking the game?
All right,
I got one to ice up too.
Who is Atlanta playing, Greg?
Atlanta is
playing. Oh, sorry.
Dolphins.
I am
It's a
picking
2.5
the Giants.
point spread.
Tony's on the Giants.
Yeah, it's Atlanta minus 2.5.
Yeah, Atlanta's playing the Dolphins.
Ooh, I picked the Dolphins. I got the Dolphins.
I'm taking Atlanta.
Dude, Tua came back. All right, I'm not even gonna tell you why. Y'all pick your own picks.
I'm sorry.
I hate to.
Y'all tell me how good Calvin Ridley is.
I
Come
hate
on,
to do
Sonny.
it too, but that Dolphins team sucks. So I'm also going Atlanta.
Wow. Who else is going to Atlanta? Cody and who?
Greg.
I'm not
Greg.
going to Atlanta. Greg, you're going to Atlanta?
Yeah.
What do you got, CK?
Yeah, I'm going Atlanta.
I hate picking Atlanta.
John, who you picking?
You said Miami and Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yeah, Miami, Atlanta.
Miami.
Good.
All right. Yeah, I hope I'm wrong on that one. By the way, I'd love Atlanta to lose everything. they
Oh
have.
yeah, I agree.
Now we got New Orleans and Seattle on Monday Night
On
Football.
Monday, and it's New Orleans minus 5.
Oh, is Cam going to be starting? Ooh.
And that's what
I
the
pick New
rumors
Orleans.
are. That the rumors are that if he's going to go anywhere, it's going to be Seattle.
That'd be crazy.
I picked New Orleans. Anybody got Seattle?
No, not without Russ.
No, I'll do it. I'll go crazy. They almost beat who'd they play here recently, man?
The other night,
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. They almost beat Pittsburgh.
I mean, come on.
Pittsburgh not that great.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
John, did you say you're picking?
And y'all picked Miami. Come on, I can pick the Seahawks. At least they still have Metcalf.
True.
Who Metcalf looked like an idiot this week talking shit.
Yeah, that might.
Yeah,
that could be a good ice
poor
up pick for
guy.
someone who
Like, I
wants
mean,
it.
I like DK Metcalf too. Like, well, actually, I don't know if I like him. I mean, he's just a good-looking fellow who catches the ball down the field, but he turns out to talk shit to people that you just should know your place. Like, don't talk shit to my grandma. You know what I'm saying? Like, she
He
was cool as
compared
fuck.
his career to a Hall of Famer. Like,
And
bro,
then
what are you
then
doing,
he
man?
tripled down. It was the triple down joint where he said, I could wipe my butt with your resume or something like that. I was like, God.
He must not
John,
have
did you
seen
say
him.
you're picking the
Saints?
Oh, in that
No.
game? No, I got Seattle.
Seattle?
Yeah,
Ah,
let's
who's
go.
with you?
Jameis
All
will
right,
Jameis
and
on
who's
Monday Night
next?
Football.
Woo, I
No
like that
way.
one. Jameis kind
No
of Jameis,
way.
y'all.
Y'all
Gino
are
will
crazy.
Gino as well, though.
It's true.
Gino.
That's facts.
All right, what's the
They're not- I don't
last
think
one,
they're
man?
gonna win.
Who's Tampa Bay playing?
Last was Tampa Bay, Chicago, and Chicago plus 13.
Wow.
You
Are they
know,
at home?
No, it's Chicago at Tampa Bay. That's nothing. The Texans Cardinals game is Cardinals minus
what's
17.
your boy, Cody? What's your boy, the quarterback?
Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what is that I thought that Chicago was not going to be able to do anything at all this year. And look, guys have a little fight at them in the last couple of games. The last 2 weeks got some fight in them. Underestimated.
How about this? And everybody
them.
says I'm such a biased Clemson fan. I'll say that of the rookies thus far, I think Justin Fields has probably been the most impressive. Now, granted, I haven't seen everything from every rookie quarterback.
I hate to say it, Mac
More than
Jones
your
is
own
far
boy?
superior.
I was gonna say, you can't say Trevor Lawrence is anywhere close to the top of that group of impressive, right?
Well, who would be?
I mean, by the way, none of those rookie quarterbacks, like they're all ranked in the bottom of the NFL right now. Yeah, I'm just talking quarterbacks. I'm saying of the four, I think Justin has probably flashed the highest.
Probably.
Sure.
Yeah,
It
I
can't be
don't know.
Mac. If you come to me and tell me Mac Jones did it,
That's what
after
CK said.
one
CK
fucking
said Mac
pass,
Jones is the best.
Strong
I will
argument
punch
is
you in
the
your
top
throat.
ones.
No, Tony, I am talking like I don't know if you watched that game against Dallas. Like the dude has some
That pass, yeah.
Like the dude is not a bad quarterback.
Yeah,
Like
he's straight.
and he's a rookie on a team that doesn't have an identity yet, and he's actually trying to do his best to create one. I was making fun of that dude. Don't get me wrong. Like I did not want him on our team, but right now he's looking like he's the best quarterback in that draft class right now, at least. And that's not to say Trey Lance and Justin Fields can't build up. Mac Jones has had the opportunity to have the starting gig the entire season, so he's going to look better. So I'm going to give him that. But he's got a better supporting cast than Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence doesn't look fantastic. He doesn't look bad, but he's definitely not like the game breaker that we thought he was.
So I take it everybody's taking Tampa Bay, right?
Yeah, how
Yeah,
could
Tampa
you
Bay.
not? Yeah, imagine.
Anybody taking Chicago right now?
Well, I
And
took
you know what?
Chicago.
I'm
I
gonna
took
poo-poo
Chicago with the
them.
point.
You know, the worst person on their team is their coach.
Yeah,
Chicago.
God,
I took Chicago with the points. But I'm not
Oh,
taking
I want to
Chicago.
bring this up as Dave Gettleman, who we're playing with the New York Giants this week, our former GM, who I loved after 2015. I had the vote for Gettleman sticker on my Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like after that 2015 draft, and we were Coney Ealy, it was almost defensive, like almost MVP of the Super Bowl. It was dope as fuck. But Dave Gettleman has made a lot of errors in the meantime. Right. And then I saw somebody put this up is that draft. So we get Vernon Butler. And then who's the defensive tackle in Kansas City?
Chris Jones.
Yeah, like he was the net. Like, so we didn't even get the best. And maybe it was Vernon Butler. Yeah,
I saw a tweet. I saw a tweet.
Like,
today
and there
that
was
said-
like all of these things. Is that this? Another one is that we get Kelvin Benjamin, and there could have been Devontae Adams or
the tweet
another
was
one I
that
put
no, the
up
tweet was that we could have had Derrick Henry over Vernon Butler, and we could have
Yeah.
had Devontae Adams over Devin Funchess.
Who's the guy? Allen Robinson. We could have had
Allen
him.
Robinson too.
I mean, there's a bunch of, and I know you could do this for every GM.
Yeah, man.
I know you could do it for every GM, but it seems, and I have said this, go pull the tape, Cody, is I feel like Dave Gettleman wants to prove to you that he's smarter than everybody. Like he wants to just show you that he knows something better than you do, rather than just picking the dude that everybody fucking knew was awesome.
Listen, I'll say this: I never ever wanted to. I didn't think being an NFL GM was a cool job until after listening to Dave Gettleman speak. Now, I'm not saying that he's good.
He's got the
Yeah,
best.
I'm not
He's
saying
the
that you know the
dope
man's
as
without
fuck. I
fault.
love
It's
him.
definitely done a lot of wrong. But I would be lying to you if I told you that I didn't really enjoy listening to his insights
He's the
on
best.
football and team building and the hog mollies. You know,
Let a big boy walk. I mean, he's got the best Oh,
but a
it's,
lot of the stuff that he
Meshuggah.
said,
That was the big one. He used to
you
say
know
it's
what though?
Meshuggah. He used
for
to
as-
always say these Yiddish statements when he came up. They were wonderful. he said this. All right, here's the problem with Dave Gettleman, bro, is that he said what he said, which was awesome, and he didn't do what he said. It's kind of like those who can't do teach type mentality. And I will tell you, the very moment you know that it happened, he said this, is that you're supposed to use free agency to set up the draft. And that is,
yes,
you want to build your team to a point where then when you go into the draft, you let it come to you. And then if a guy is there and he's wonderful, you can draft him with not trying to fill a need. But sadly, he said that and he never did that. And the examples are this, is that the reason we drafted Vernon Butler was a play against Star Lotulelei and KK Short, trying to give the Panthers some contract leverage. So they didn't set free agency up for the draft. They tried to set free agency up by the draft. Another example was this. They rescinded the the franchise tag for Josh Norman, and at the last moment, and then they have no fucking corners. And guess what they did? They drafted James Bradbury, Zach Sanchez, and Daryl Worley. He did the opposite of what he said. So Dave Gettleman is a wonderful dude to hang out and listen to. It's Meshuggah. He's got these great fucking Yiddish statements, but he hasn't been successful yet.
No, he hasn't, man. He needs to take his
And
own
they're ready
advice.
to get rid of this motherfucker. They hate him there in New York.
Yeah. All right, you ready to
He
do some?
drafted Daniel Jones, homie. Daniel Jones.
That was always terrible, man. His
That's the
eye for
worst. Is
talent.
there anything
his
worse
eye
than
for
that?
talent.
Tell me
His
that.
eye for talent
Tell
is
me
what
that.
ultimately did him in. His eye for talent is what ultimately did him in. He did have a lot of good philosophies, like big men win football games.
He
which
says
is
the right
inevitably
things.
true.
He says the
Yeah,
right
he just
things.
doesn't always do them.
And then he doesn't do it. All right.
Yeah.
What's your ice up pick? I got to go. So you
Dude, I have the best one. I really do
Right.
think I have the best one, and I think
They're
it's gonna
always
take.
the same. I bet you it's mine.
No, I don't think it is.
I feel like it'll be mine. Yeah.
Is it a fight at Panther Stadium? 'Cause
No, that's not it. You might not be expecting this, but I'm icing up Cam Newton.
For waiting too long.
And Greg, I don't know if you saw this, but Cam Newton was a part of DC fandom. And you all know that Cam he's big into the hat game, right? Well, he now has his own hat line, and he is making personalized hats for DC Comics, man, including Superman hats, right? But peep the prices on some of these hats, yo. Who is spending $750 on a Superman hat? Cam, bro, you're the only one spending that kind of money on a hat, bro. What are you talking about, man? Hey, I love me some Cam Newton, but I would rather swallow thumbtacks before I ever spent that much money on a hat, bro. I'm sorry, Cam, but my bro, especially now when everything is generally in a recession, dog, my man, the reason I love the Panthers, I'm going to have to say ice up, son. This ain't it, man. Why would you pay that much for a gray and black hat, dude? It makes 0 sense, man. I'm sorry. That's my
People pay that for shoes all the time, though, and stuff.
Couldn't do
Yeah,
it.
those prices are wild, though, man. Like,
It
I
is.
don't know. Maybe that's just me. But all right, I had to do it, man. I had to ice up Cam.
All right, who's next?
I'll go.
Let's
Good,
see.
John.
Let's hear what you got.
So I've got to ice up the man, the myth, the legend, Jackson Mahomes.
Oh, good one.
Jackson Mahomes is an idiot. That's just to put it plain and simple. And if he's not careful, he could be. We've seen people's careers end off of this kind of stuff, right? Because the pressure that's on Patrick Mahomes right now and his performance, for his brother to be doing all these crazy TikTok dances everywhere, and then the worst and the most egregious one was him being in a roped off section, on top of Sean Taylor's number 21 number in the end zone when they're retiring his jersey that day, and be doing a TikTok dance while Patrick Mahomes' wife is filming it. I'm like, bro, come on, man. Look at this dude.
Not a good look
at all.
And this is it, right?
You know how weird that man like 6'8".
This is the TikTok society is
toxic.
Interesting one. I don't know what's that. Like, I feel like you see people dancing all the time for like no reason or doing this.
Suspect.
All right. What do we tell him? What do we tell that cat?
Ice up, son.
Ice up, dog.
Ice up.
Yeah, everybody's doing shit just to be famous now without caring about consequences and shit.
Do you think he was trying to be famous, or do you think he was just a famous ass dickhead that didn't understand what he was doing?
No, he knew what he was doing, because this is like par for the course with him. Like, he does this. These TikTok things are, it's commonplace, but
yeah.
Right.
If he's not careful, he's gonna end up getting, because like at the Baltimore game, he ended up pouring water on a fan. And
oh yeah, he did that.
Yeah.
So this isn't the first time.
No.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Basically, he's I think he's going to turn into what Aaron Rodgers' brothers turned into, which is like someone that Aaron Rodgers hates. Like Aaron Rodgers does not like his brother, like whatsoever. It'll eventually turn. I assume Patrick. I have my own personal feelings about Patrick Mahomes, but
good ice up. Good ice up.
Yeah, great.
Right, can I? This is what I want to ice up is. So I have like a ton of followers on Twitter that it's only Panther fans. Like, I started my account, like, I don't follow people. Like, everybody I follow is a Panther fan in some way. And so I feel like I have a good pulse of what's going on in Panther Nation. And this past week, the 2 videos surfaced of Minnesota fans fighting with Carolina Panther fans. And I would also say, too, that it didn't seem like in one of them that the Panther fans were all that cool, right? But at the same time, then I look at this old lady, and I'm going to show the video in just a second. She's a biatch too. Why is all this? Minnesota people are kind of tough. Like, you see what wasn't the George Floyd, Minnesota,
Minneapolis,
and you see. Yeah, there's like, I've seen like the other guy, good God, the one that was the worst, and I wish I should remember his name. He got killed. He was trying to pull his gun permit out of his
Philando Castile.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Philando Castile. Like, it seems like the Minnesota turns out to be a rough and tough tumbling place. Like, where a lot of shit's going on. Now then, we get that fight where I don't even like to talk about it, because the Panther fans were pushing this old man around, and I don't know what he did. And sometimes I probably would have been, who knows? But this is weird. What I'm about to show you is there's nothing cool about it. Number one, the old Minnesota Vikings lady is shitty. Like, I would want to kick her in her face right away. But this skeet Carolina Panther girl is just as bad. Like, this is about to be, to me, it's just gross. Do you hear it?
Kind of.
So loud in my earballs. Can you hear it at all?
I can hear. I just can't hear what the woman's saying. What is she doing?
So this old lady tells this girl, "Oh, it's gross." What? Here comes. She comes back for more. I think. The skeet joint. And I can barely look. Here it is. I knew she came back for more.
Oh my
I
god,
knew it
that's
was
even
more.
worse.
It's awful. It's awful. Look at this. It's so terrible. All right, so I'm gonna have to play again. So bad, I gotta play it again. Look, this old lady tells her. So this old lady right here is fucked up. Look, she's yelling at this dude, and who knows what he said, but he looks all right. But this old Minnesota lady is pissed, and she's yelling at him. She says, "Fuck you." And then she throws this girl. She said, "Don't spit my face." She says, "Sit the fuck down. Sit the fuck down." And this girl goes to skeeting on her.
What the fuck is going on?
Did she actually spit in her face?
It's so gross. No, well, maybe. I don't think spitting. I think
It's
she
just
was
like
trying to
talking,
yell.
Yeah, okay.
Here it comes. Here it comes. This is where it gets fucking awful.
So who are we
Here she
icing up
comes.
here?
Look, here it comes. It's like Silence of the Lamb shit. It's like I'm sorry. All this is like, I don't know what to say. I don't know who the grossest person is. I wanted to be mad. I really, really wanted to be mad at this Minnesota Vikings lady for being like trying to chastise this girl. She called her a bitch. She said, "Sit the fuck down," when she won't doing nothing. You're like, so I wanted to be mad at her, but then when she stood up and started throwing cum on her, like, damn, Silence of the Lamb shit. It's a little bit much for me, man. I mean, she and double skeeted. It was skeet. She was like singing the song too, at the same time. Skeet. It was too much, man. Too much. So what I say to you, all of that scene, ice up.
Ice up.
I mean, god damn, leave it off. I feel like, God, stop. And that, did you see how excited she was to do all of that? Did you see? I mean, she was just like so happy. I was like, God, you won a penis, girl. I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot. TK, you got to ice up pick for us.
I do. I want to get this. Hold on. I want to get this picture over, or I can, or at least open image in new web tab. I think it's important. Hold on 1 second.
It's so bad. It was so bad. It went the second time she came back for it. I mean, she came back like she had been. She looked like Spider-Man. It looked like a Spider-Man joint. I didn't know if she was doing a Brian Burns celebration or a skeet celebration.
Was she actually throwing something out at her on her face?
No, she was fake
Just gesturing.
I think
Okay.
that's what it is, right? Isn't that what that move is?
I believe so.
All right.
I
I'll
have
see
to.
what this one. All right.
So this is Robert Pattinson as Batman, like well as Bruce Wayne.
Who's that?
That's Robert Pattinson.
Why does he look dead?
Barista.
That is your Batman, by the way. Like that's who is the new Batman. And this is him in the movie.
And
and what this does is this brings back memories of Spider-Man 3 when Topher Grace, or not Topher Grace,
Emo Peter.
Tobey Maguire, he went full emo. Full emo, and it was the most cringe thing I've ever seen in my life. And honestly, I'm just very like disappointed with the way that Bruce Wayne looks. I don't know, he looks really good as Batman. I'll be the first to say it. Like the Batman suit and everything looks really good. But like when I saw this preview and I was watching it, the only thing I could think of is like, God, I am not going to be able to enjoy this movie with him looking like that as Bruce Wayne. Like this is the reality of it. Like it's similar to let's just assume that Spider-Man wasn't goofy and having a good time, right? Spider-Man was just all doom and gloom. Like, you would not enjoy that whatsoever, right? And that's just what I imagine about this. Like, it just is a complete different character to what Bruce Wayne should be. And so for that reason, I was giving this the benefit of the doubt. This trailer has kind of turned me off of what this new Batman is going to be. And for that, I say ice up, Robert Pattinson, because you do not look like a very good Bruce Wayne.
CK, who was the best Batman?
Michael Keaton, bro, number one. The OGs, baby.
You know, those are good, but I mean, how do you argue with the Dark Knight? Like, I mean,
yeah, I will fuck with. But why did he have that crazy voice shit? Like, it was too much, and I think they toned it back. Is that I'm Batman? It was like so much in the first one. He was great. The Dark Knight, right? Like, it was wonderful.
Thank you,
but
Carrie.
still, Michael Keaton,
Batfleck is the best.
Batfleck,
really?
I don't know.
How can you be a nerd and say that?
Because, dude, it's Zack Snyder, Dark Knight
like the
Returns is my
uberest
favorite
nerd
comic
because
book. Like, yeah, it's all. I'm Batfleck. I'm all over that one right there, man.
John, what do you think? Who's the best one?
Christian Bale. It ain't even close.
Christian Bale did great.
Do you not think that voice in the first one was a little over the top? It was like so much. It felt a lot of voice recorded.
Where's the trigger?
It just
I don't fight that. I'm not gonna be upset with it.
Yeah.
But Michael Keaton, that first one, man, who was the best Joker? How about that?
I don't know. That's easy.
Heath Ledger.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to watch, and it pains me to say this because I'm Heath Ledger all day long too. But after Joaquin Phoenix, man,
he did a great job. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
this.
that.
Can we say that no one has really done bad with the Joker? Like, I think every Joker has been who did bad with him?
Jared Leto.
Yeah,
I think Jared Leto wasn't given the opportunity to do what he was.
Which one
supposed
was
to do.
he in? I don't even remember.
Suicide
I always
Squad.
thought it was Nicholson. Who's Jared Leto? Which one was he in?
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I think Jared, if we're ranking, I don't know if you could say he did a bad job, but if you're ranking, like, Jared Leto definitely is on the bottom of the list. But like you said, he didn't get an opportunity. But Jared Leto, like, it just it was too, I don't know, like it felt like he was never going to be able to be the main, like, villain in a movie. Like, it did not feel like he was going to be able to take that to a level that needed to for a Joker character.
Wait till you see the air cut. Just wait to see the air cut. Remember how it was with the Zack Snyder cut and the Justice League? How much better the Snyder cut was? Wait till you see the air cut and see what the Joker was supposed to be in Suicide Squad.
I think with the one with the Phoenix Cat was
that was a great movie. Yeah,
it was a great movie.
There was,
you know who I think is I would rank it is the Dalmatians joint. 101 the Cruella DeVille.
Yeah.
I put that up there in the Joker. Well, like that, that's she did a performance like the Phoenix. Was it?
Yeah, Joaquin.
Is it Joaquin?
Yeah, Joaquin
that's
Phoenix.
fantastic. I loved it, and I like Jason Bateman. Anyway, we got to get the fuck out of here. It's 12:20 in the morning. We've been talking about the Carolina Panthers for 3 hours, and this is what I need y'all fans to do: is smash the thumbs up button. That's easy. It's free. You've probably already done it. But this is what you could do. You can phone a friend. Phone a friend, folks. Drop a link of this show in Reddit. Drop a link in Facebook. And I don't even know what people look at anymore. Those are the only two things I know. But God forsaken, help us one person at a time. Share the link. That's it. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. I'm worried about this Giants game, Cody. And I'm not like really scared. I'm not scared or worried, but like, damn, Like, I mean, it's week 6. We need to learn about our team. But I do, and you're on mute, by the way. You're quiet as a motherfucker. So, he's good night, Cody. He's out. Like, he can't even talk no more. We love you, baby.
I'm here,
We
man.
love you. How'd you do it? I've
been
anyway, I think, look, y'all think we're gonna make the playoffs.
fucking
I want to
minutes.
trade Stephon Gilmore. I think this. We're go to bed. Go to bed.
No, dude, look, I'll say this, man. No one should have full faith in this team right now until they prove it. Let them earn it first. Let
What
them
is
earn
full-
your
Oh,
trust and
actually,
affection.
no, I'm not
man.
asking that question. We'll
No,
be
don't.
up.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
We'll be. Yeah. All I'm saying is this offensive line actually has to earn your trust before we can actually pick them to easily defeat whatever team is ahead of us, man. Because the Jets weren't supposed to have the type of performance they did on defense. Neither did the Texans, but yet they still did. So we're not going to be surprised if the Giants have a good performance. But yeah, the Panthers have to do better. I'm gonna. Yeah, go ahead, CK.
I think what we should do is to be prepared before we get done tonight. I think we need to go through every offensive snap from the last 6 games.
I know. I mean,
And,
let's stay up. It's like
yeah,
a
let's-
marathon for the rest of our life.
Y'all can do that
All
on
right, John, where can they find your work? Thank you so much for hanging out with
Yeah,
us. You've
man,
been
listen.
fantastic. The audience, man, has
Yeah.
loved you. They want you to host my podcast more than me.
Man, listen, like I said, I've been a big fan of you guys since I first started watching Panther content. You guys were the first ones that I found, and so
Thank you.
yeah, no problem, man. Been a fan ever since, but yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you guys tonight. By the way, I am definitely wanting to do that what we talked about in the inbox. I don't want to give it away, but yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah.
CK, that's CK and K.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are gonna be great. I'm telling you.
That'll
Like I
be
know
fun.
it. I can see it. I'm not good at it. Y'all are great at it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
But yeah, you can find me everywhere. One Carolina, the One Carolina Show on YouTube, just One Carolina Show on Instagram, and the One Carolina on Twitter.
Perfect. Greg, what are you guys talking about this week?
This week we might be talking about Dune, but I don't know if everybody's going to see it in time. But then we're definitely going to be talking about the regular shows,
Dune?
Titans and Dune.
Like the
New
the
one.
video game?
No, the movie comes out on Friday. The remake of Dune.
Hey, where can I
So-
find you, man? My wife
you-
likes to come.
You're gonna love this.
It's at SCS Podcast 1 on Twitter, and we go live every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Super
Called
Civil
the
Servants
Super
Podcast.
Civil Servants Podcast.
Yeah, I hit you up on Twitter, man. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
Yeah. But we're
Yeah,
covering everything. We're doing the
wonderful.
Matrix next month because it comes out in December. We're doing Dune coming up soon. The regular shows, Doom Patrol, Stargirl, Titans, all that good stuff. Anything Marvel DC that comes out, Star Trek, Star Wars, everything, man. We cover it all. So
And my man's
that.
been pounding the pavement for like 3 years now.
almost
Probably
3 years.
close
Yeah,
to
we're
it.
we're
Like,
actually
close to
promoting a
it.
comic. We're promoting a
Wow.
comic this week. Bigfoot knows karate. Is,
Yeah.
the producers
Nice.
or creators that are going to be on there, so it'll be fun.
These guys don't quit. I love it. And that's what it's about, folks. You got to have
Mhm.
that tenacity. And I'm telling you, don't give up on the Panthers. And when I say you're going to be like, oh, Tony, you already gave up. You want to trade Stephon Gilmore? Yes, I want to trade Stephon Gilmore. I'm not giving up on the Panthers from the week to the week. Do I think we're winning the Super Bowl? No, never thought that in the first place. But I do think that CK has one of the best voices on the intranets that could be possible.
Agreed.
And you can hang out with him and play some video games and do a lot of cool stuff. CK, tell them how they can find your work.
You can find me pretty much on all social media platforms. Code Dizzle Allen. If you're interested in watching me stream video games, you can find me on Facebook Gaming, YouTube, and Twitch. We have some fun. I enjoy it. We'll continue to grow it. Right now, it's not super. It's been a lot better this past month than it's been in a while. So if you guys are interested in coming and checking out some of this new stuff that's coming with these new games coming at the end of the year, it's definitely worth a shot.
You can help every single person on the internet that is a creator by giving them a like, by giving them a share, by being a part of their community. We are not look, it's just go do it. Just go hang out. One person, one share. Look, Greg, you already got John on the joint. That's it. It's one person, one share. That's it. One person, one thumbs, one share, one friend. And CK, Greg, John, and I tell you, Cody, you my best friend.
Hey,
Cody's my best friend. Cody's my best friend, and we've been doing this.
Let me
virtually.
tell you
It's
about
so good.
friend.
How about that? How about that? You meet your best friends on the internet.
You do, man. You do.
So wonderful, man. I'm telling you, we are building this community. Help every single person. That's all you gotta do. Who gives a fuck? Root for us. Root for them. Until then, keep pounding. Get us out of here.
Pounding. Peace and love.
My wife's gonna divorce me.
Mine fell asleep.
Let's
Bye,
get
everybody.
out of here.
She's all right.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You could turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Nice buns, soft, fluffy, and ultra low net carbs. Discover Hero Bread, the delicious ultra low net carb bread with incredible taste and texture. Hero Bread has 0 grams of sugar and is under 100 calories per serving. Plus, high in fiber with 5 to 10 grams of protein per serving. Order from hero.co now and get 10% off your first purchase with promo code AH10. That's 10% off with code AH10. HERO.co.